Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Let me be the first to advocate on behalf of baby boy Hunter. I think the big guy should pardon him, because if you can pardon your kids, who can you pardon? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Hunter, as expected. And, you know, the thing about these, we know exactly what's going to happen next. They're so transparent in the ruses that they run. Then when it actually happens, it's almost anticlimactic. Like, there's almost like nothing to talk about. We told you this is who they are. We told you this is what they're going to do. We told you why they're going to do it. Now they've done it. I don't know what there is more there is to say, really.
312-642-5600. You can also text us on our amazing turnkey.pro text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. But this is just the beginning, right? I mean, this
Beginning
is
of what?
of charges that'll be leveled against Hunter Biden.
Says who?
Says a lot of people, says a lot of commentators, says Fox News, even NBC, even CNN, about that he didn't register as a foreign agent, that his there's filing false statements.
Why does anyone believe that's going to happen?
Because the door has been opened, and now
No, this is.
you think it's one and done?
This is about closing doors. It's not about opening them. This is about ending investigations, not beginning them. This is 5 years to get to this point. It took 5 years. This is exactly the point that Jonathan Turley made, George Washington law professor, last night in reaction to this. It's the charges, the FARA charges, Foreign Agent Registration Act charges. I mean, it was lickety-split with Paul Manafort.
Right.
It's 5 years, and they still haven't been able to turn their attention to his far-flung foreign dealings.
You know, they were giving out FARA charges against Trump officials with great speed and alacrity. You know, they hit Paul Manafort very quickly with a charge based on many of the same facts. What the media is ignoring is that these uncharged crimes do have one common possible motive. When you don't declare yourself a foreign agent, when you don't declare income, when you create these questionable international transfers, all of them can be effectively succeed in hiding that trail, right? If you declare income, you got to say where the income came from. If you declare yourself a foreign agent, you have to explain what you're doing for foreign governments. And if you create this labyrinth of accounts to send money through different shell companies and through different banks, it makes it harder for people to see those transfers. All of that fits a unified theory of an influence peddling scheme that did involve potential criminal acts. And so I think it's rather obvious that the one outlier, the gun charge, is the only thing that has been charged.
3-count indictment alleges Hunter knowingly lied in certifying he wasn't addicted to drugs when he purchased a Colt Cobra in October of 2018, and that he possessed the firearm illegally. Faces a maximum of 25 years. I mean, seriously?
Well, it's the same firearm that was found in a garbage can, and then he blamed that on illegals. Yeah, but 25 years, he's not going to go to prison for 25 years.
We had this discussion with Andy McCarthy. We had a little disagreement, he and I. This is maybe not David Weiss, but in terms of David Weiss as a company man representing the larger institutional interests of the Beltway, justice has been served. No one is above the law. Even the president's son was taken to task, has to face the music, and now we can turn our attention to Trump. Hey, we said no one is above the law, and look at what has happened to Hunter Biden. Now, of course, there's no evidence of anything else, so we can't go beyond Hunter Biden and filing, making false statements on a federal gun application. So let us turn our attention to President Trump now so that justice can continue to be served. Believe us. Believe in these systems. This is Lady Justice with her blindfold on, don't you know?
I don't know. Do you think there's a presidential pardon? I mean, do you think it is a possibility that he'll spend this weekend at Camp David or at the beach in Delaware and sit down and be like, you know what? I'm going to pardon you and then announce that I'm not going to run for president?
No chance.
Do you think no way, no chance?
There's not going to do
HE-double-L hockey sticks.
not
That's
gonna-
going to happen.
No, he's running. He is running for president. I mean, I know David Ignatius, the Amazon Post correspondent for the deep state, wants him out too. But
That
it's
was
like
on Tuesday.
all these people that want him out, and they're saying he's out. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom bows out again. Fat Jelly Belly here, Governor Spalding, is all focused on the DNC. Look at all that Joe Biden has done. I know that can still be a setup to say, because of my failing health, I've decided I can't make another go at some point. The window is closing fast, and I just don't see it. And again, what incentives do the Biden family have to leave? All the incentives for them stay, so that you have a in-house legal counsel called the Department of Justice, headed by Merrick Garland or whoever would be next up, that can head off any investigation that gets beyond Hunter and a gun charge.
I just someone needs to ask Merrick Garland next week when he appears before Congress of how do we go from Hunter, walking away scot-free with sweeping protections from future prosecutions to now having a special counsel indict him.
What do you mean? How do we go from
we
a
just went from-
a judge killed the plea deal, and David Weiss then formally, if he hadn't previously, after saying he wasn't the shot caller, Merrick Garland say he was. Well, we better make this formal, so then I become the special counsel, and then finally we get to this 5-year-old straightforward. Any assistant Cook County State's attorney would have turned this case in 5 minutes, filing, if it was a state level charge. The false statement on the federal gun application. I mean, this is not to be taken seriously. Mike in Hanover Park, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, guys. Yeah, this is nothing but smoke screen. Don't waste the money because, first and foremost, if he's found guilty, they're going to pardon him. If he's not found, he'll be found not guilty. And same with the impeachment. McCarthy's going after him with the impeachment. They're not going to vote for the impeachment in the Senate. So stop doing that. We all know it's a big farce. It's just deflects what they're really doing. Same thing against trying to get rid of Trump. A lot of dodge and deflection. And where's the January 6th tape?
Wait, you don't want an impeachment inquiry to move forward?
I wouldn't waste the money because the Senate's not going to vote for
money. I mean, but money. This is just like this is fractions of pennies. It's not a money issue. Well, what?
No, but it's more dodge and deflection. They all he's not going to be found not guilty.
Well,
everybody does.
Well, that's probably so, depending on what's turned up. Thanks for the call, Mike. That's more likely than not. But no, there's a reason to move forward with the impeachment inquiry. There's a lot of reasons. Some of them you don't say out loud, but I'll say it. The precedent that the Democrats set during Trump, that's one reason. You don't want to lead with that because it sounds like political vengeance. But you set a standard. This is the new threshold you have to clear. So we've cleared that threshold. Number one. Number two, there's all sorts of evidence that should be followed up upon. And the implication does rise to the level of high crimes and misdemeanors if you are making public policy decisions based on your personal enrichment. That's called a bribe.
Yeah.
Even if the bribe is directed to, per you, effectively directed to family members or close associates. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. There's every reason to move forward with this impeachment inquiry. Not a waste of time. And we're not deflecting away from Trump. They're trying to deflect away from Biden by, telling us to investigate Jared Kushner's relationship with the Saudis. You do it. We're too busy investigating. You go ahead and investigate Jared Kushner's relationship with the Saudis. I don't care. I'm not here to protect Jared Kushner, whatever he's doing. Make the case that relates to Trump. Have they? No. It's just something they throw out. That's a smokescreen. No. This impeachment inquiry is right and proper. Mark on South Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. There's no way 12 people in Delaware vote guilty. It's impossible. It never happened.
If it goes to trial,
Thanks for the call, Mark. This is so straightforward.
it's obvious.
I mean,
Hopped up on crack out of his
Possibly.
mind, sign a firearms application.
you may be surprised about that too. I know some people in Wilmington who
Don't like him.
know the Biden family because it's a small place, and to be close to Biden Incorporated is to not like Biden Incorporated. It's the old saying that no man is a hero to his valet. To really know them is to perhaps really despise them. So I wouldn't say necessarily that residents of Delaware would be inclined to turn a blind eye to Hunter.
But let's not forget President Biden said his son did nothing wrong.
First of all, my son's done nothing wrong. I trust him. I have faith in him. And it impacts my presidency by making me feel proud of him. This thing about a gun, I didn't know anything about it. I have great confidence in my son. I love him, and he's on the straight and narrow, and he has been for a couple of years now, and I'm just so proud of him.
Yeah, but that's all going to be chalked up to he was struggling with addiction. I didn't know anything about it. Obviously, I'm disappointed. I'm crestfallen, as any father would be. A lot of fathers and families go through this. You're going to get the
But that's a
father's
nice-
love sophistry.
But he's never going to say that, what you just said.
He's gonna-
Never.
Sure he is. Sure he will. He'll be I'm standing beside my son. He's had his struggles. He sort of intimated it right there in that clip. I mean, that's not the gotcha moment on the big guy. Tony in Downers Grove.
All I heard when Trump was being impeached were Democrats front and center making their points, and they were pushing their agenda through at the same time. The Republicans just can't walk and chew gum at the same time. It's so frustrating. And
Well, how are Republicans not front and center? You've got McCarthy, you have Comer, you have Jim Jordan, you have Jason Smith, you have Nancy Mace on CNN. How are they not front and center making their case? They are this week.
Some are.
Well,
Some are. And they're not. And meanwhile, the Democrats are praising Joe Biden. They're starting to praise all his accomplishments. And what I'm saying is get front and center, and not just about the impeachment, but you have to start attacking the accomplishments that aren't accomplishments. And I don't see that happening.
well, thanks for the call, Tony. I don't know about that. And by the way, I don't know that you have to spend a lot of time attacking Bidenomics. I think Joe Biden is doing a good enough job tubing himself over this reelection strategy of putting Bidenomics front and center.
Idiot.
With where people actually are versus where they think they are. So they're going to try and gaslight people into saying that your economic security is something very different than you think it is.
It's all lies. Come on.
That Bidenomics speech yesterday was a hot mess. So,
Horrible.
I don't know. I'd get out of the way and let Joe Biden talk about Bidenomics all he'd like. He's doing the Republicans' work for them.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll take a couple more of your calls, but then we need to turn to something important. How my new best friend, Nick, the captain
God.
at Rolling Meadows High School, performed last
They did
night in
all
that
right.
Rolling Meadows Deerfield game.
Yeah, they did all right.
38-35. Oh, we're supposed to tease it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Rolling Meadows won.
Meadows beat Deerfield 38-35.
Well, I know. We talked after the game.
Oh,
There you go.
and we'd love to hear from anybody who was at the game, too.
Inside the
so-
locker room chat.
Oh, 312-642-5600. But now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Fog and spots this morning, 55 degrees. The UAW is on strike after failing to reach a new contract deal with the big three automakers. Fox's Alexandria Hall.
At 11:59 last night, workers for Detroit's big three automakers walked off the without a deal. The first targets of the strike are three plants located in Missouri, Ohio, and Michigan, and they span GM, Stellantis, and Ford. Union leaders say that the plan is to target additional plants if negotiations continue to fail. And the demands are admittedly bold, including a more than 40% wage increase over 4 years, pension benefits for all employees, limiting the use of temporary workers, and 4-day work weeks. The automakers have argued that the demands are unrealistic considering the competition they are facing from Tesla and foreign auto manufacturers.
Meantime, the White House says the president spoke to the UAW head and company officials about the negotiations. Tropical storm warnings being issued in several states as what once was Hurricane Lee barrels toward New England. Quincy, Massachusetts Mayor Thomas Koch says the city's prepared for anything.
We'll open up the operations center. Police chief, fire chief were there, Department of Public Works, Natural Resources. The entire team comes together. We're used to this. We know where the problem areas are.
The storm is on track to bring wind damage and flooding to the Northeast and Canadian maritime provinces. Hunter Biden indicted on felony gun charges. A court filing shows the president's son has been charged with 3 federal criminal counts. Meantime, former President Donald Trump says it's very unlikely that he would pardon himself if elected in 2024.
Well, I think it's very unlikely. What did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. You mean because I challenged an election, they want to put me in jail?
Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press. Today, day 3 of the Google antitrust trial in Washington, D.C. The Justice Department accusing the tech giant of spending billions to secure agreements with mobile carriers and smartphone makers to become a default search engine. More than 24 are hurt after a large tent collapses in the parking lot of a store in Bedford Park. It happened in the 5600 block of West 73rd. The cause has not been released. Police discovered a man shot multiple times lying in the middle of an apartment hallway in Chicago's Loop Thursday night. Officers discovered that unidentified man, around 30 years old, with multiple gunshot wounds. Further investigation did show the victim was in a loud argument with another man who produced a weapon and shot the victim. 3 artworks believed to have been stolen during the Holocaust from a Jewish art collector and entertainer have been seized from museums in 3 different states by New York law enforcement. The artworks were of Austrian expressionist Egon Schiele and were seized from the Art Institute of Chicago, along with museums in Pittsburgh and Oberlin College, Ohio. Illinois' unemployment rate is up again. The IDEF says the state's jobless rate increased by 0.1% last month to over 4%. Twins 3 home runs in a 10-2 rout of the White Sox in Chicago. Cubs continue their playoff push with the weekend set against Arizona. Tampa Bay opens up their home schedule with a game against the Bears Sunday at Raymond James. Number 11 Notre Dame looks to stay undefeated when they host Central Michigan tomorrow, while the Fighting Illini try to get back in the win column when they host number 7 Penn State. The news, a service of Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns, Saturdays at noon, weekly discussions to a secure retirement. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum has an easy way to deal with looters.
You don't have a right to other people's property, and you don't have a right to take advantage of people in a crisis. I feel no pity for you. If you loot somebody's store, somebody's house, if they bust a cap in your rear end. I have no pity. I don't feel sorry for you at all. I'm almost to the point where I'm willing to celebrate.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Attention! Road Knights is expanding the Army. If you possess the heart of a warrior, the spirit of an adventurer, and an unrelenting drive to conquer new horizons with 3,000 miles weekly under your wheels, then hurry to call. Join the team that is strong as steel and united as convoy, and be on the road towards the glory. Have you had your commercial driver's license for over 2 years? Are you looking for an over-the-road driving job for the smoothest running, most established trucking company in the Midwest? This is not just a driving job. This is a mission. Visit online at roadnights.us or call 773-672-2062. That's 773-672-2062 or online at roadnights.us. Call or email today for details on a life-changing opportunity to drive for the best in the business. Victory is the only option. Road Knights Trucking. Join our mission today.
School has started. The nights are getting cooler. The sun is getting lower on the horizon every day. Winter is coming and coming fast. Keeping your business's doors and gates working properly to keep out the extreme weather is a major concern. Your business can't afford a loss of income or productivity. Think ahead before Old Man Winter arrives and call Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. for your commercial door maintenance and security tune-up now. You can't always plan when your doors break down, and it always seems to come at the least convenient time. Industrial Door Company will ensure your doors, grills, and gates are working to specification and give you advice on how to increase the life of your doors. See a range of products and services at industrialdoor.com and call anytime 847-258-5620. Their team will be there before the extreme cold weather causes financial losses for your company. Since 1982, the Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. takes care of your doors so you can take care of business. Service and installation positions available now.
Discover Chicago Build Expo, the Midwest's largest construction and design show, officially supported by the Mayor of Chicago. Join us at McCormick Place on October 11th to 12th. Connect with 25,000 plus attendees, including contractors, architects, realtors, engineers, developers, and government officials over 2 jam-packed days. Gain industry insights from 400 plus top speakers across 12 conference tracks and AIA CES approved workshops. Meet 250 plus exhibitors as they showcase the latest innovations and products revolutionizing the industry. Experience the biggest festival of construction with fully immersive experiences, a tasty food and drinks trail, captivating competitions, DJs and live performances, and the Architects Hub featuring visionary projects. Celebrate inclusivity at the largest networking events for the Midwest for women in construction and diversity in construction. Secure your free tickets at chicagobuildexpo.com now. We can't wait to see you there.
It's 5:41. Let's get an update on the roads. The service of My Pillow and the 6-pack bath towel sets. Well, they're back in stock. Technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet you get that soft feel you need in a towel. For a limited time, 50% savings, promo code Liberty. Kennedy inbound. Setting up right now for a tough start to the morning commute. Nagel to Montrose, 25 minutes into the Burns Circle. Stevenson outbound accident between Kedzie and Pulaski, 20 minutes out to the Tri-State. Bishop Ford already brake lights, stop and go. Inbound 103rd to the Ryan Merge. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Sunshine and a pleasant start to the weekend. 78 for a high today. Clear and 58 overnight. Fog in Joliet and Lansing, 56 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We're talking about baby boy Hunter's indictment yesterday on those gun charges, finally, and as advertised, and the implications and where, if anywhere, this, well, it's going to go somewhere, but where it goes related to the big guy amid the impeachment inquiry. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
I mean, he could do a preemptive pardon. You know, I mean, he lost one son. He lost a daughter in a car accident. He's not going to lose his only surviving son and let him go to prison. I don't think he would do that. I know you're rolling your eyes.
Come on. The whole thing is set up. I mean, and the conversation had to be, as I've suggested for weeks, starting with the original, when that plea deal went south, is, all right, well, we tried. So this thing blew up, so, Hunter, you're going to have to take, a bigger hit for the old man. So we're going to have to indict you on the gun charge, probably get a year and a day, probably do 6 months in the can. That's what I think is going to happen.
All right.
More or less. So
KJP says he's not going to pardon him at all. This was on July 21st.
Any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there
I just said no. I just answered.
Well, I mean
Careful about that.
that's also, you know, he there's nothing to pardon him about because he did nothing wrong because we have full confidence and blah blah blah. Yeah, but probably not. I think it would be fun if he did, because it could continue their, you know, courtship of Eddie's father sort of relationship, at least the way that the big guy tells it. But probably what's not going to happen, especially if he's running for re-election. And the point here is to understand that this is farcical.
Well,
well, what?
You think that this is farcical? See, I see this so
That's
differently.
why I
know.
do.
Okay.
That's why I said it.
All right. Okay. I think that this is just going to open the door to other indictments. I really do.
5 years to get to this point after trying to make this go away 2 months ago, and you think now we are getting serious with Hunter Biden.
Things are getting real, Dan. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think
Tax
so.
filing false tax returns. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Uh-huh.
Failing to register as a foreign agent when doing business on behalf of a foreign
We all
corporation,
know what the allegations are.
But will they do it? I think that they will, and you don't think that they will. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 646-36. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Mac in the 219.
Three things quick. The Hunter Biden thing, that's more predictable than a WWE outcome. We know how that's going to end. That's going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the UAW. Way to ruin another industry. You hit the airlines, education, steel. What else did you do? You did government workers, and now you're going to crack up the auto industry. But my comment, importantly here, is about Joe Biden. Go to Wilmington, Delaware. There are only two assets left on the planet you cannot transfer in cash. That's property and financial assets. In the county building in Wilmington, Delaware, are payments on Joe Biden's property tax. Someone needs to go there and pull the records and go, how did these taxes get paid for? If there's not a check from Joe Biden's bank account with his signature on it, who paid his property taxes? Someone needs to get down there before that building ends up on fire and the records are destroyed.
Thanks for the call, Mac. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, sure, fine, pull all the records. I would assume that House Oversight has been doing that. You know, all things.
They better have been.
In terms of your financial holdings, but you're not going to be talking about a lot of money there. I know the house is expensive now. You're not going to be talking about a lot of money. I mean, money that he couldn't have paid. You know, and then you have to trace back where he got the money and so on and so forth. I mean, this is part of the point. But this idea you're going to have, you know, Ukrainian oligarch pays Joe Biden's property taxes. Come on. If anything, you're going to have that's not in his name, which would be really sloppy. But these are not terribly smart people. You're going to have Hunter Biden paying bills. That's what you'll trace it back to. And then you got to trace Hunter Biden's money. You say, well, Hunter Biden's a businessman. Then, you know, it's this, and they've got all these shell companies. And what all these shell companies do? How are they related? This income's coming from where and going to. So, and what did Joe Biden know?
When did he know
this
it?
is this hamster wheel that we've been on for a few years now. So, yeah, I mean, they're all the right questions, but I wouldn't be too optimistic, you know, per even what the oligarch said to that FBI asset, that you'll never be able to find the smoking gun, a check to Joe Biden from your friends in Ukraine, from your friends at the Chinese Communist Party, whether the payments were made in untraceable crypto or something like that. If they were made at all, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But this, again, for emphasis, this idea there's no evidence is just, it's ridiculous. There is evidence. Whether it rises to the level of high crimes and misdemeanors for an impeachment, whether it rises to the level of criminality, well, that's an argument. Prosecutors make cases based on circumstantial evidence all the time. You have prosecutors who are prosecuting the former president right now up and down the eastern seaboard, largely based on circumstantial evidence. Right. So to listen to the willful blindness and the absurd talking points that are regurgitated by these Dem members of Congress, I mean, it's something to behold, but we're not surprised because we listen to these same people say Russian collusion for 3 years, and they're completely unshameable such that they're right back with their new story and their new lines to repeat.
Yeah, and they responded yesterday to this indictment. You know, your usuals, Raskin, Swalwell.
We shouldn't take delight in other people's misfortunes, but we have to have a rule of law. And when people commit crimes, then the consequences follow.
The Justice Department charges have nothing to do with the president. Hunter Biden is a private citizen. He is not the president of the United States.
It sounds like a prosecutor appointed by Donald Trump, kept by Joe Biden to investigate his own son, has found that there's no wrongdoing that Joe Biden did. So, great.
What did I say? Justice is done. Justice has been served. Those who suggest that the system has been politicized, how dare you? Let me introduce you to the Hunter Biden prosecution. Has it restored your faith in the justice system? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. I want to get to something else. No, but take Jeff in Cal City first. Jeff, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Yeah, I was just wondering, is there a mugshot with of Hunter Biden like there was for Trump? And I thought that there were mandatory minimums for these sort of gun crimes, and I thought you couldn't get just like a year and a day.
For this, thanks for the call, Jeff. I don't know. I'd have to look up what the sentencing guidelines are for this, but we've seen other people prosecuted for this. I mean, this was part of the argument that was made when he didn't get when they were going to give him a walk away on the gun charge, that you had like celebrities like a rapper or a couple of rappers who got hit on the same gun charge and had to serve jail time, but it was de minimis jail time. The idea that you're talking about years on this charge, or I guess it's a 3-count indictment on these charges. No way. Not to mention, that's number one. Number two, this assumes it goes to trial and that he doesn't plead out.
Right. There's always that possibility.
And I'd be surprised if this goes to trial. I'd be really surprised. My suspicion...
the Bidens do not want this to go to trial, especially during an election year.
Well, this would be a quick trial because there's just not much to it. The point is that they're still trying to negotiate the global plea deal. That's what's actually happening here. My instinct is. So go ahead and indict him. We got to work this out. They don't have a new deal yet. But they're not trying to work out a deal just on the gun charge. They're trying to work out the whole walkaway deal that got tubed by that judge a couple of months ago. That's what's actually going on here. So there's negotiations going on to try to make this all go away with as little pain as possible. That's still underway. And it still could happen. Something else, though. And it came to mind because of the commentary of one Peter Strzok, of all people. Your FBI counterintel guy, one of the lovebirds.
My lover boy.
Yeah.
Well, not my lover boy, but...
Now a scholar at Georgetown University.
Oh, yeah. Really?
And an MSNBC contributor.
Of course.
So what are they talking about right now? Talking about people who are making threats against FBI officers or personnel. That's the real problem. That's a real concern we have with respect to law enforcement in this country. It's not the politicization of law enforcement. It's that people are making threats in the direction of law enforcement, and something needs to be done about it.
In my opinion, we're not doing enough. I mean, look, when push comes to shove, absolutely the FBI and DOJ need to band together and protect their personnel to allow them to do their job. They're going to do it, but they need to be able to do that without fear for their lives. When the FBI was fighting Al Capone, there was not a unit dedicated to protecting FBI personnel. When the FBI was fighting organized crime families in New York and all around the U.S., there was not a unit dedicated to protecting FBI personnel. I'm struck by the fact you threw up that quote from testimony from an FBI agent to the House Judiciary Committee. Who's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee? Jim Jordan. And yet Jim Jordan, hearing that these threats to this AUSA are coming about from being publicized, he nevertheless goes on television and, appears in the same, little snips that you showed, repeating the name of this AUSA. So congressmen, senators, they don't care about this threat, but we need to be doing more. In my opinion, I'm glad to see the FBI and Director Wray and others starting to talk about this, but we need to talk about it even more because it's not getting better. If anything, it's getting worse, and it's getting worse behind the testimony and the statements of senators and congressmen, not fringe, sort of outcasts and outliers, but mainstream, reputable national politicians. And it's got to stop.
The lack of protection for federal law enforcement, the FBI, DOJ and DHS need to get involved. These threats that are being directed at FBI agents, that's a real problem. Now, I don't support making threats against FBI agents or anyone else, but that's not what this is. Don't name names. Oh my gosh, you named the name of an assistant U.S. attorney? You name the name of an FBI agent? Threats are being made. Threats are always being made. Everybody's always being threatened. As soon as they're in the crucible, then it's, they're threats and this and that, and so stop talking about me. Stop naming my name. Stop holding me accountable for what I do professionally. That's what that is. Threats. Really? I'd like to hear the specific nature of the threat. Nature, individual, give me the details, and then what law enforcement has done. If you know the threat has been lodged, then give us perspective on it. We're supposed to just walk away. We're supposed to stand down. We're supposed to not demand accountability from the FBI or DHS or CIA or government in generally, your school district, because somebody says I've been threatened. No. Nope. First of all, I don't believe you because it's the first refuge of the scoundrel. The first refuge. This is what they run to.
Stacey Davis Gates, that's first. I've been receiving threatening emails.
Yeah.
From the right. Oh, really?
What is the nature of the threat?
Nature of the threat.
You know what a threat is? A threat is when somebody shows up outside of Brett Kavanaugh's house with weapons and an assassination plot and thankfully call the police on himself. When you show up and you're ready to violate somebody's rights, then you have a threat. And that's what we have law enforcement for. I received threatening emails that said, you should be fired from your job? Is that who know? What constitutes a threat? This Peter Strzok business is so telling because you hear it all the time at every level of government. You have to stop talking about this issue. You have to stop talking about this person because they've received some threat. Nobody should be sending threats to anybody. Baseline. But you don't get to hide behind generic descriptions of threats that are being directed your way. You don't get to absolve yourself of accountability by donning the cloak of the threatened.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel. Not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv. AM 560. The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Will 2024 be the personal responsibility election? 606.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Chicago aldermen approved more money for the illegal migrant crisis. One wanted in an Addison armed robbery. Chicago libraries closed due to bomb threats for a very short time. Bears visit the Bucks in weeks 2, while the White Sox get crushed by the Twins. The Fighting Illini take on Penn State. WIND, Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
They'll be picketing instead of automaking. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Union! They're chanting union and mighty after walking off the job in Wayne, Michigan in the first United Auto Workers strike against Ford, GM, and Chrysler parent Stellantis at the same time.
Union President Shawn Fain says auto workers have been taken advantage of.
We're all expected to sit back and take the scraps and live paycheck to paycheck and scrape to get by.
13,000 UAW workers off their jobs at plants in Michigan, Ohio, and Missouri, one plant from each of the big three automakers. Fain says a decade of record profits for the companies justifies their demands for double-digit pay hikes.
That's Fox's Jack Callahan. Ford CEO Jim Farley says,
for the last 2 weeks, we've been putting realistic offers on that we can actually invest in the future. There's no way we can pay people $300,000 to work 4-day work weeks.
President Biden's son Hunter has been indicted, charged with making false statements when buying a gun.
And count 3, a count of possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user or addicted to a controlled substance. But Biden's lawyers say, listen, this is a gross overreach and an affront to justice.
Fox's Kevin Corke as House Republicans investigate the president for his alleged role in Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings. Now, the president went to Maryland touting his economic agenda, calling Republican Maganomics extreme.
Just months ago, they went further than anyone has ever gone, threatening to default on the debt. It's over 220 years old.
A new Suffolk USA Today poll shows more Americans trust former President Trump on the economy than President Biden by 11 points. A new Reuters poll has a Trump-Biden tie, each at 39%. In the GOP race,
right now, 60% of Republican primary voters are supporting former President Trump. The race is for second, with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis at 13% and Vivek Ramaswamy close behind at 11%.
That's Colonel Scott. America's listening to Fox. 56 degrees. We have fog in spots this morning. 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. More than 24 are hurt after a large tent collapsed in a parking lot in Bedford Park. It happened yesterday in the 5600 block of 73rd. The cause not released. Authorities are still searching for a suspect wanted in an armed robbery at a business in Addison. Shortly afterward, officers located a vehicle believed to be involved near the Tri-State and Ogden Avenue in Hinsdale. Authorities searched the area, found one person, made an arrest, but another suspect remains at large. Chicago's illegal migrant crisis top of mind for city aldermen. The council voting 45-4 yesterday to spend another $34.5 million, mostly federal taxpayer dollars, to try and help remedy the matter.
This body has the fiduciary responsibility to safeguard the taxpayer dollar and use it accordingly, and none of us can explain where it's going. None of us know where it will go.
The vote followed a contentious debate by aldermen who noted there's equally pressing demands to tend to local residents' needs. Also on Thursday, the mayor reintroduced his controversial Bring Chicago Home ordinance, seeking to tax high-end homeowners to fund his expansive housing scheme for low-income and homeless families. If passed, it would bring the funding question before voters in the March primary election. Homeowners groups, realtor communities, and others remain opposed to the scheme. Alderman Maria Haddon tried to spin the mayor's new plan for a progressive mansion tax.
Less than 6% of property sales are going to be impacted by this, and it's a small impact. And it's a small price to pay for security, for housing, for services.
A South Shore preservation ordinance was also introduced, seeking to keep low-income housing from being wiped out by the Obama Presidential Center. Will County animal control officials are asking Monee residents to be on the lookout for a missing wallaby. The organization's Facebook page this morning warns of a missing wallaby named Rupert, 2 feet tall, 45 pounds. Yes, the family has a license for the exotic marsupial registered with the county. By the way, don't try to chase that little young wallaby. It can run 30 miles an hour. Twins hit 3 home runs and a 10-2 rout of the White Sox in Chicago, while the Cubs continue their playoff push with the series against the Diamondbacks on the road this weekend. The news is a service of Advanced Design Studio. Want to learn more about home remodeling trends? Attend one of Advanced Design Studio's upcoming free workshops. Learn more by visiting advanceddesignstudio.com and click on Events. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
How far will the left go to win 2024? Will they send out more stimulus checks or give away trillions more to left-wing groups? The simple truth is they don't care if your retirement is eroded down to a fraction of its value. They just want to win. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to encourage you to diversify your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into a physical gold IRA. And the only company I recommend for gold IRAs is conservative-owned Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get their free info kit on gold IRAs. Do this now before Democrats have a chance to legislate away your life savings. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting PROTECT to the number 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. So use your agency. Take action now. Text the word PROTECT to the number 989898.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Hey there, Charlie Kirk here. You've probably been hearing my colleagues and I talking about investing with Why Refi for a while now. You may have some questions, so let's review. It's true, you can earn up to 10.25% fixed rate of return that's not correlated to the stock market or the Fed. You could turn your income on or off, compound it whatever you choose, and there are absolutely no fees. There's no attack on principal if you ever need your money back, and you'll get your monthly statement with no surprises. Just go to investwhyrefi.com. That's invest the letter Y and then REFY.com, or call 888-YREFY24. Folks, this is a solid investment that actually helps people. Just go to investwhyrefi.com. That's invest the letter Y and then REFY.com, or call 888-YREFY24 and tell them that Charlie Kirk sent you. So call 888-YREFY24. Solid investment. It really helps people. Call 888-YREFY24 and tell them that Charlie Kirk sent you.
6:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And
Let's start on the Kennedy this morning. 33 O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound, 30 minutes back out to the big airport. Aiken, 31 from 390 to the old post office. Stevenson is solid on the inbound side. You have gapers to an outbound problem between Harlem and Kedzie. Your outbound delays due to an accident much earlier, outbound between California and Pulaski. Bishop Ford stop and go already this morning between 115th and the Ryan Merge. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Lots of sunshine. It'll be a nice day today. The high at 78. Mainly clear tonight, though, 58. Sun and clouds, a shower in spots late afternoon tomorrow. The high 75. And then cloudy with a shower in the area Sunday. Look for a high of 69. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
56 at O'Hare, 59 Lakefront, 54 Midway, 47 in Aurora. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by IDT. Eliminate paper files with the IoT Smart Connected Scanning Device. Find them at ready4IDT.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I want to get to this Nick Kristof column in the New York Times, but we need to throw something out there. We didn't get to it yesterday. Amy and I have started brainstorming names for BLM Brandon's forthcoming chain of government grocery stores because we want to help our hammer and sickle homies. So we're soliciting names. What should BLM Brandon's forthcoming chain of city-owned, government-owned grocery stores be called? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636DA, turnkey.pro.
I mean, a government-run grocery store in the city of Chicago. What could go wrong, Dan?
I thought we already had an Aldi.
Oh, hey.
Oh,
no,
no,
come on.
no.
Now, have you ever been in an Aldi?
Yeah, my mom used to go there.
Yeah. Oh, good. She's sensible. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, sometimes I would be dragged along.
Okay.
Even though I don't like it. I think that's what scarred me from going to grocery stores, and I haven't been in one since 1998. But if BLM Brandon rolls out the city-owned grocery stores, I may just have to break that streak.
He says all Chicagoans deserve to live near convenient, affordable, healthy grocery options.
Of course.
We know access to grocery stores is already a challenge for many residents, especially on the south and west side.
Look.
A better, strong, I'm not done because you can't be done unless you say a better, stronger, safer future is one where our youth and our communities have access to the tools, resources they need to thrive.
Look, obviously, there's no debate here. This is a wonderful idea. No one is disputing that this is a wonderful idea. The city should definitely get into the business of running grocery stores. It's demonstrated such competency in running other businesses and running your businesses for you as well, and shutting down your businesses and rolling over your business. All that. They're very good when it comes to bottom line sensitive enterprises.
They're reimagining the role of government.
I got it.
Your life.
I got it. There's no discussion. Who wants to have a discussion about this? Everyone in Chicago agrees. Wonderful.
What should
I
we
just
name
want a
the
name.
store?
I just want a name for the chain.
Okay, our text line is down. I'm very bummed. So people that normally
now
text.
people aren't going to text.
Well, I know, but I'm saying
It'll get
call
back up.
us. No, if you've never called in before, now it's your wait, it's back up. Our
See?
text.
Told you.
Look at this. Justin Kosic's a miracle worker. 312-642-5600. Text line is up and running. 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. Somebody already texted in. Sorry. Lift and loot.
It's not bad. Lift and loot. All right, we'll put that down. My offering.
All right, wait, hold on. I'm seriously, I'm taking a list. All right, what are you?
The government cheese stores.
Government cheese. Right? Wasn't that under Reagan? They'd roll out a thing of cheese they'd hand out to families.
Okay.
Government cheese.
So we're taking suggested names. We got Lift and Loot. We got Government Cheese. So we're off to a good start. Take your calls and texts on that. But then we have to get to. Do you have anything that you'd like to add at this juncture?
No, I'm
okay.
Oh,
All right. Well, if you have to come up with
you
it,
just
if you come
right over me.
Well, you either have a name or you don't.
Free food. No, that's so bad. Wait, hold on.
You should have just
Somebody
taken the pass.
Somebody texted Kmart. No, you can't.
Right.
It's already taken.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you don't have anything you
Hold
like that
on.
at this point.
The silver shovel. The silver shovel. Dig those prices. Huh?
Jim in Warrenville, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. I think the Pork Barrel would be a great name for the city-owned grocery store.
That'd be more like a city-owned barbecue joint, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah. And not that there shouldn't be one, because there should. Thanks for the call, Jim. It's
Cheese
not bad.
are us. Cheese are us. No, this is a good one. The People's Mark at being spelled MARX -ET.
The People's
Marks
at.
at.
Marks at.
Marks at.
It's not bad.
C rations.
C rations.
C rations.
Uh-huh.
C dot or
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. For the enlisted. Gabby in Schaumburg.
Well, if I have to explain it, it's not going to be funny, but stock and steel.
Stock and field.
Steel, S-T-E-E-L.
Oh, stock, and
stock and
steel.
steel. Stock and steel. Our screener had it wrong. Sorry about that. Quinn. Stock and steel. Stock and steel. Okay, that's
Got
good.
a few others.
Thanks for the call, Gabby.
CPS, Central Planning Shopping.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Food fight.
Oh, hold on. I gotta write these down. Central Planning Shopping. I like that.
CPS, Central Planning Shopping.
Stock and steel.
Look a lot. I don't understand that.
Central Planning Shopping. That's pretty good.
Bread lines.
The CPS network, Central Planning Shopping. That's
You like that one so far. What about bread lines?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could say this one.
We'll find out.
All right. Get ready to dump me. Oh my gosh. No,
That's what Mario Lopez said.
Chicago shopping.
It's sort of the
Take and run.
Uh-huh. I'm getting I'm
Jibbity
sensing a theme
jibbities?
here.
I don't get that.
Stop and steal.
Teetertown.
Lift and loot. What was it? Lift and loot.
Loot a lot.
Loot a lot. Well. All right, stock and steal. I like that.
Some of these I can't. Let's not be racist in nature, people, with some of these text messages.
Well, we'll be the judge of that. Bob and Roselle, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, based on the way Chicago does things, I would suggest Grapes of Wrath.
It's way too sophisticated.
Yeah, that's gonna.
That reference will be lost on everyone, but you and me,
this is a grape
Bob.
store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a good one. I like it. I appreciate the literary reference. I'm just saying it's too highbrow. Thanks for the call. Maybe you could get away with that in Wilmette.
I like government groceries. I came up with that just now.
No.
Why?
It's like it's too on the nose. It's too on the nose.
What about Johnsontown?
CPS, Central Planning Shopping. That's how you do it.
Because it's going to have a name.
That's how you do it. Jeff in Elk Grove.
How about Moo and Boink?
Moo and Boink. A take on Moo and Oink.
Yeah.
Wave if you like the catfish.
Would you like to? Would you like to explain that, or you're just going to leave it there?
Yeah, I'll just leave it.
Yeah, all right, very good.
Have you ever
Thanks
been to
for the
Moo and
call,
Oink,
Jeff.
Dan?
No.
Oh. I was on. I think it was Stony Island. Remember those commercials on when we were kids? Moo and Oink.
No.
Wave if you like the catfish.
We don't have a Moo and Oink in here around here, do we?
No, but it was a commercial when we were kids.
No. We were different
remember?
generations. I've
No.
never seen a Moon Oink commercial.
What?
No.
Oh, I love those commercials. Mike, remember those commercials? They were the best. And then they'd have a guy on front of the plate, wave if you like the catfish.
Sure. And there still is a Moo and Oink, I want to say, on Armitage.
Really?
Like one of the last ones?
Not really?
Perhaps?
In Chicago?
Yeah.
No, Armitage and Wheaton.
Armitage and
been there.
Wheaton.
It's a lovely
No, that's the Wheaton Meat Company. That's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
I love my Wheaton meat.
Yeah, we got the
those hoodies.
pullover.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got some steaks from there, too, once upon a time.
Oh, yeah. When things were good.
Yeah.
When the economy was great and America was strong.
Then we got hit by a bad spell of Bionomics. Frank, Board of Trade.
Yeah, how about a Hemingway reference?
Okay.
The Movable Thief.
Oh, yeah, The Movable Feast. I mean, it's a good read, but again, we got Steinbeck, we got Hemingway. You understand that most of the city can't read. I mean, literally, that you've got like 1 in 10 CPS kids that are reading at grade level, maybe 2 in 10. So, I mean, this, and let me tell you what they're not reading. Hemingway and Steinbeck.
Oh,
So-
just the basics.
I'm just, so just let's bring it down, people. I appreciate we have an educated audience, but, you have no place, just like I don't in Chicago.
The Company Store, Smash and Grab, Brandon's Grocery, but using the word gross dash.
I see what he did there. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
How about
Squirrels is take off of Jules.
How about
Squirrels?
Midnight Meat Train? No,
Oh,
I was
okay.
thinking of
See,
that movie.
that movie is so gross.
You saw it, right?
You made me watch clips of it. It's the most disgusting movie. It's
Bradley Cooper.
I know.
I'm just telling you.
What is wrong with him?
Tim and Mokina.
Turn some scripts down.
Social Mart.
Oh, social. Bingo.
Social Mart.
Bingo. That's it.
All right.
Social Mart. I like
Wait,
it.
what was it? Thanks for the call. Wait,
BLM
what was the other one? Social Mart, and we had the Marks at. Marks.
Mark at.
What was
MARX dash.
What was just that's it? Marks
well,
at.
I'm swamped here with I'm blonde.
Well, I
and
want to
it's
send
Friday.
this. Obviously, we need to send this over to the 5th
Okay,
floor.
hold
They're going to
on.
want to see these.
The People's Mark.
Oh, People's
at.
Marks at. Yeah.
The People's Marks at.
Yeah. Okay.
Lift and loot.
I like that.
Sea rations.
Marco and Romeoville.
Ransack Market? I don't know.
Ransack Market.
EMAS.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
EMAS Market. That's the logo.
Thanks for the call, Marco. Ransack.
It's gonna have a name, guys. So we might as well get in at the ground level here. Keep it coming.
Yeah, maybe we get like some. You get like 10% off coupons for the government cheese.
Another one for Social Mart. McDowell's. Whatever. Pat McDowell.
No, that's from. You don't know what the reference is?
McDowell's.
Yeah, you don't know the reference.
You're just.
Don't tell me you didn't see this movie.
Oh God, here we go. What?
You didn't? Did you see Coming to America? Oh my God! Come on.
Listen, I had things to do in high school and in college. I didn't have
You
time
have
to
to
watch a movie.
You have to watch. I've seen
Coming to
all
America?
of Arsenio Hall's movies. Well, I think that was actually Eddie Murphy's movie, but anyway,
it was Eddie.
But it was Arsenio Hall too, and James Earl Jones.
Oh, he's in it. Coming to America.
Just stop.
I know.
That's the reference, though. That's not bad.
Okay.
Um,
Marxianos.
But speaking of Marxianos, speaking of Coming to America, rather than going McDonald's, how about this for the name of the grocery stores? Sexual Chocolate. It's a band, and you don't get the
I don't
reference,
know,
but
but
everybody else listening does.
Your Lives Matter. That's good.
Mhm.
Look and Link. For link cards. Magamart. Well, maybe not.
Magamart.
Uh-oh.
Stalin's.
Stalin's.
Just simply Stalin's. Yeah.
Stalin's.
That is a nice
Come shop at Stalin's.
That's a nice ring to it. You could have big bushy mustache as the logo. I like that.
And
Yeah.
nobody will know what we're talking
Yeah.
about. Link a lot.
Get out of the gulag. Come to Stalin's. Or the half off. You got a dozen eggs for $2.99 or something.
Dan and Amy, People's Market was actually a real grocery store in Evanston. Oh.
But this is People's Marks at.
Right.
Yeah, see what they did there.
Fast food.
And by the way, that doesn't surprise me.
Mostly peaceful shopping. I love our listeners.
Dave in Hobart, Indiana.
Yeah, grab and go.
Grab and go.
That's good.
That's more of a convenience store, but it could be affiliated with the. Again, I mean, the city can own barbecue joints. They can own convenience stores. They can own everything.
Own our children. Yep. Shop and Snap. Get it for Snap.
James Westmont.
Well, playing your words, the fixed market.
Oh, the fixed market.
It's not broken. It's fixed.
Yeah.
What man said
Exactly.
that?
Yeah, great.
I believe it.
Dan, we could hire Randy Watson to run it.
Yes. Now they're coming to America reference you don't get.
I don't get.
Because you're culturally illiterate.
You know, maybe I'll start. I did watch Godfather 1 and 2.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
A few months ago.
Yeah.
Guns, God, and Godfather was quite the Sunday.
Terry, St. Charles.
Yeah, cheese and crack whores.
Thanks for the call, Terry.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Cheese and crack whores. It's not bad. I don't know if that one's going to get past the censors over at City Hall, but we'll submit it. Dave and Racine.
Yes, how about Charlie Fox Groceries? Yeah, you can have a little Fox logo, but, of course, or you could say Cluster Fox Groceries.
Cluster Fox?
Yes.
What's Charlie Fox Groceries? I don't get
Oh,
it.
just using the radio for C, but you could go Cluster Fox or Charlie Fox, which is the more sanitized version.
Oh, I got you. Thanks for the call, Dave.
For the call.
All right. Cluster Fox Groceries. That's not bad. All right. We got a
Not
good working
Safeway.
list here. Dave in DeKalb.
How about the silly shoplifter?
Silly shoplifter. I like that. Yeah, that's not bad. That's a much more uplifting name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
Fun. Yeah.
You could have like a cartoon logo rather than Stalin's bushy mustache.
What's going to make
which
you
is
wanna,
less fun.
What's going to make you want to come and shop at the store?
Like
Government-run grocery store.
The prices.
Oh.
They sell on price. Chris in North Aurora.
Yeah, how about free for all?
Free, the number 4 all, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call,
Yeah, we
Chris.
got that here. Food for free. Drive-by, another name. Drive-by.
Food for free.
I like mostly peaceful shopping.
Drive-by groceries. Yeah.
Link a lot. You got that. Your Lives Matter.
Mostly peaceful. All right.
Link up. LINK -up.
Putting together a nice list for the mayor.
I still like Stalin's.
No, it's
Social Mart is fantastic too.
Yeah. Everybody could be dressed in like the old Soviet, with the epaulets and the whole. You could have like a little gulag play area for the kids.
Oh,
yeah.
Go grocery shopping.
Something themed. You could have like the puppet shows that Bernie Sanders used to enjoy when he visited Moscow. Yeah. Cheryl Midway.
Fruit and loot.
Fruit and loot.
Fruit and loot. That's good.
Oh, like it's like the focus on produce. Yeah, I like that. All right. Okay, all right. Let me just summarize some of these here. See if I've missed any.
What do you have?
I got fruit and loot.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Silly shoplifter. Cluster Fox Groceries. Fixed market. The grab and go. More of a convenience store. I still like CPS, Central Planning Shopping. It's an acronym plus that. Yes, I like that. Stock and Steel, Social Mart, People's Marks at, Ransacked,
I've got more.
Free for All, Food for Free, Drive-By Groceries, and of course, perhaps the leader in the clubhouse. Oh, government cheese was mine, but I think that's fallen down the rankings. The leader in the clubhouse has to be cheese and crack whores.
We have some more, though. The motto is you don't have to steal. It's free. Another one, blunts and needles. No. Lightfoot's House of Trinkets.
Okay.
Piggly Wrigley? No.
I think we're starting to get a little far afield now. Travis Bolingbrook.
5-finger discount.
There you go. That's not bad. Yeah, thanks for the call, Travis. George in Hegwish.
Greed and feed.
Greed and feed. It's not bad. Sounds like a farm supply store, but yeah, all right. Greed and feed.
Community BJ's. For Brandon Johnson, of
Obviously.
course. I mean, bread and circuses.
Maybe just BJ's.
Left's Fresh Market.
Community
Andy
BJ's.
Mix-a-Lot Grocery Association, MAGA.
I'm still trying to process
I like
community BJ's, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you for all these. I didn't know that we were going to get such a flooding. What?
Carl's.
Carl's.
For Carl.
With a K, like Karl Marx?
Karl Marx.
Oh,
Yeah, Carl.
Yeah.
Pick and grab. Boy.
Okay, all right.
Coming in.
We've got a great working list. We'll continue to take your suggestions, names for BJ's grocery stores, BLM Brandon's grocery stores, city-owned grocery stores coming to Chicago. And they should probably do about as well, I suspect, as that Neiman Marcus did in Inglewood.
Huh. Although I think Frank in Arlington Heights would weigh in and say he would want something like Gum, the old department store on Red Square in Moscow.
Oh. Yet again.
Which is also an acronym.
Yeah, you get you're getting.
Oh.
It's like a Hemingway reference.
Right.
I mean, I think you're talking to the wrong crowd.
Too deep.
Yeah.
The luxury
BJ
department
Bodega.
store with no luxuries at all in it.
Yeah.
Our last entrance, real quick. BJ Bodega.
Well, we're not New York City. Can't be a bodega. No. All right.
Johnsonville.
Okay.
All right. Let's
take
go
a
to the newsroom.
break. Take a cleansing break. Turn it over to Mike Scott.
56 degrees at 6:31. Members of the UAW are now picketing the big three automakers. Union President Shawn Fain says workers at 3 plants, one for each automaker, are being the first to go off the job.
From day one, we've told these companies, we don't expect them to delay and drag things out, and that's what they've chose to do. We didn't want to be here. We want a fair agreement. We want fair economic and social justice for our members.
The deadline to negotiate a new contract passed at midnight, prompting the targeted strikes against Ford, GM, and Chrysler. Economist Paul Isley says auto suppliers in Michigan are going to be the first to lay off other workers other than UAW members.
As they're laid off, they're going to be buying less haircuts, less food, less TVs, and that affects everybody else. So it bleeds out into the economy.
Union President Fain says workers at those 3 plants are on picket lines. Special Counsel Jack Smith is opposing a request from Donald Trump to remove the judge overseeing his federal election case. Meantime, the former president says it's very unlikely he would pardon himself if elected in 2024.
I could have pardoned myself. Do you know what? I was given an option to pardon myself. I could have pardoned myself when I left. People said, would you like to pardon yourself? I had a couple of attorneys that said, you can do it if you want. I had some people that said it would look bad if you do it, because I think it would look terrible.
Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, he continues to claim he did nothing wrong. Planned Parenthood is offering abortions in Wisconsin again. The group yesterday announcing it will resume abortion services, but only in Milwaukee and Madison, on Monday. The president saying the Wisconsin 1849 pre-Roe v. Wade abortion law is unenforceable. More than 24 were hurt after a large tent collapsed in a parking lot in Bedford Park. The incident happening yesterday in the 5600 block of West 73rd. The cause has yet to be released. On Thursday, Mayor Brandon Johnson reintroduced his controversial Bring Chicago Home ordinance, seeking to tax high-end homeowners to fund his expansive housing scheme for low-income and homeless families. If passed, it would bring the funding question before voters in the March primary election. Homeowner groups, realtor communities, and others remain opposed to the scheme. Alderman Maria Haddon tried to spin the mayor's new plan.
Less than 6% of, and it's a small impact, and it's a small price to pay for security, for housing, for services.
A South Shore preservation ordinance was also introduced at City Council, seeking to keep low-income housing from being wiped out by the Obama Presidential Center. Twins hit 3 home runs in a 10-2 rout of the White Sox in Chicago. Andrew Vaughn did hit home run number 20 in the losing effort. Cubs continue their playoff push against Arizona in a critical series with the Diamondbacks this weekend. Bears prepping for Tampa Bay on Sunday. College football, the Fighting Illini hosting number 7 Penn State Saturday. The news, a service of the AM 560 store. Order T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
Trump has been given a bond of $200,000 in Georgia. So you're gonna give an ex-president bond, then you're gonna tell him what he can do with his freedom of speech. Let me tell you something, you rat bastard Democrats. I'm onto your scheme. And it's not about the bond. It's not about documents. It's not about election questioning. It's about really upending the scam that you're running. And it's a total scam.
The Sean Thompson Show. Weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Imagine you're on the couch in your living room and one of your kids or grandkids excitedly pulls on your arm, urging you to come play. But instead of feeling exhausted, you practically jump off the couch. To make sure you're keeping up with them, it's crucial to fuel your body with whole fruits and vegetables. Unfortunately, most people don't get enough of these nutritious foods. That's where Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies can help. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies provides your body with the additional nutrition it needs, helping you to embrace all of life's greatest moments with energy. Happy National Fruits and Veggies Month! Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer today to receive $35 off your first order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-2468-751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Men.
And women.
It's sometimes hard to talk about, but it takes a real toll on your life. Pelvic floor issues. What is that?
Pelvic pain, rectal pain, pain with intimacy, pelvic organ prolapse, painful or loss of bladder or bowel control, overactive or underactive bladder, and constipation.
Good news. Cotorinos Physical Therapy pioneered many of the physical therapy approaches to drastically change the problems you are dealing with without drugs. Strategies to fix the problem. It's time to make the call and have a conversation.
630-620-0232. Don't feel like there's nothing you can do, because there is.
Pelvic floor issues can affect your sleep, your activities, and your life. Cotorinos Physical Therapy has been helping people for over 46 years. It's their specialty.
They simply know more about it. They successfully treat men and women of all ages, and they can help you too. Call and ask about your issues.
Cotorinos Physical Therapy, 630-620-0232. Go to pelvictreatment.com.
Pelvictreatment.com. 3 Chicagoland locations.
6:37. Let's get a quick update on the roads. A service of Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Here's a hint. Fall finds for $25 and under, like blazers, sweaters, cargo pants, jackets, and more. Find the latest trends and new arrivals at a Macy's Backstage store near you. Eden's at 22 Inn, Lake Cook Road to the Junction. The Kennedy Inn, 47 O'Hare to the Burns Circle Interchange. Ike Inn, 47-390 to the Old Post Office. Stevenson, already an hour in from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Outbounders, due to an earlier accident between California and Pulaski, you have big delays out to the tri-state. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunshine and a pleasant day. High 78. Beautiful night. Kick the pigskin around. Low 58. 56 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
I saw some people responding to my tweet. There's a good one there.
What?
For the name of the BLM Brandon city-owned grocery store chain that's coming. Lenny's Supermarks.
Oh, that, you know what?
That's really good. It's fun. You don't do Lenny's. Right, Supermarks. You get Lennon and Marks in there. I mean, that's
good.
That's pretty good.
I love this Moanoink commercial growing up, and I can't believe you never heard this.
No.
Listen carefully and closely, please.
Moanoink. We got baby spare ribs, roast beef, hot links, and more to give. Cube steaks, hot dogs, real tips, ooh, pork chops, chicken wings, and chicken wings too. Give me a wave if you like catfish. Jump up if it's your favorite dish. Tommy likes ribs and chicken wings. If you like you, let me hear you scream. Wave for catfish. Scream for ribs.
Was this like a...
See, I nailed it. I stuck the landing.
Was that like a...
It was like before rap became popular.
This was like a dance supermarket / dance party? What?
No, that was a commercial from Moanoink, and they were dancing, and then...
Did you ever go to a Moanoink?
I've been to a Moanoink, yes.
What is it like? Is it like a
It's just
a
like
dance
regular.
party?
No, it's not.
Sounds like
Yeah,
it.
you walk in, you yeah. No, it was a great commercial. It's a good run they had. Moanoink.
All right. Okay.
But that you don't remember that at all. Okay, that's fine. So you can keep them coming. 312. No, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. Smash and grab yeah. It should be called Going Out of Business because that sign will be up within months of its opening.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, reparations. Brandy's.
I'm not.
Michelle Obama's food. Food for Freedom. Carl's Markdowns. That's another one. Do you like any of those?
No.
Boy,
I don't think
very
so.
opinionated. Oh.
Mm-mm.
Off with their heads.
I'm just trying to think. No, it's
The food lottery.
Okay. All right. We'll revisit this. We've done enough of that. I think we've got a lot of good ones here.
Okay.
I think the mayor's office is going to be very pleased with us. What do you? I'm sort of limping towards the finish of this week. I can go one of two ways.
What?
I'm going to make this ladies' choice, like at the
Oh.
Moanoink, where you have ladies' choice night. You can pick your.
Moanoink.
So, do you want to do Trump talking COVID with Megyn Kelly, or do you want to do the election of personal responsibility? Dan Henninger, Nick Kristof, two-parent families versus single-parent families. What do you want to do?
Trump and Megyn Kelly.
All right, I knew what I was going to say.
Well, I want the backstory on this, and she's an excellent reporter because she was my intern.
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
I wanted to
right.
see, the
Yeah, you birthed her into the business.
her and Savannah Guthrie.
Yeah. I wouldn't
And
brag
I'm
about
here.
that very much.
Okay.
Anyway, Megyn Kelly's got a podcast like everybody else. Me too, by the way. I've got a new one,
You have a-
Counterculture.
You have a podcast?
I'm doing it with, I just started last week, doing it in conjunction with American Greatness.
Uh-huh.
First episode posted Alex Berenson. Second episode, so COVID, obviously, and marijuana. We didn't do it. We talked about it. The second episode, Patrick Moore, talking about the eco-supremacists. Third episode, which drops today, Victor Davis Hanson.
Oh, nice.
And then next week, we had a great conversation. Always do. He's awesome on this show. Andrew Klavan.
Oh, good.
So a lot of arts and culture with Andrew Klavan. So anyway, yeah, so it'll be on all the platforms. Right now you can get it at the American Greatness YouTube channel, their YouTube channel, but it'll be on all the platforms and Rumble and everything else soon enough. Anyway, it's called Counterculture. Is my new podcast. All right, that shameless plug now out of the way. Donald Trump sat down with Megyn Kelly on her podcast, and she challenged him about his handling of COVID. All of the criticisms you've heard before, but never maybe put quite this way, and Trump not being too defensive in offering a response. The first criticism, putting Fauci front and center and leaving him there.
You made him a star. You made him a star. This is the criticism of you, that you made him the face of the White House coronavirus task
You think so?
force, that he was out at every presser, that he was running herd for the administration on COVID, and that you actually gave him a presidential commendation before you left office. Wouldn't you like a do-over on that?
I don't know who gave him the commendation. I really don't know who gave him the commendation.
Presidential commendation. One went out to Mark
Somebody
Milley, too.
probably handed him a commendation. But let me just tell you about Fauci. Fauci was very important in the Biden administration, much less important. If you know, he didn't want to stop China. He wanted to let everyone come in from China. I stopped it. I overrode it. I overrode many of the things he did. He was much less important to me. Now, with that all being said, he's been there for years. He was respected. He lost a lot of the respect because of COVID, but he was respected. And on COVID, if you know what I did, I let the governors run their states. And many of the governors opened up their states. Some of them didn't. Florida, by the way, was closed. But if you take a look at Henry McMaster, he had his state, South Carolina, open. You take a look at South Dakota, take a look at Tennessee. A lot of the states were not closed. And it's the federalist system. I allowed the governors to do that. I also allowed Democrat governors to do that, but I don't think none of them did it.
Wouldn't you like to go back and try to clip his wings? This guy was pushing mask mandates on us. He wanted the most extreme measure at every turn.
Okay, look, I'm not one that blames a system that if you're civil service or if you have some other protection that you can't get fired, because I've done things that are a lot worse than that.
You're big on the firing.
So yeah, I fired a lot of people. I fired Comey. And that was one of the great firings. I fired Comey, and then I fired a lot of other people in the FBI, and they were great firings.
Yeah, well, those great firings happened later than they should have, too.
Exactly. Wouldn't be tooting your own horn.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. He's got to answer these questions again and again. And if Trump is talking about COVID, he's probably losing ground. I suspect, but we'll take your calls on that. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Yeah, that's not exactly what he described as what happened is not exactly how it actually went down. It's a bit of a stylized version of events. And for him to be incredulous when Megyn Kelly said, Fauci, you made Fauci a star. I mean, he was at those press briefings. We all saw the press briefings. They were daily for months on end. And there's no question that Fauci was the central attraction. And that was at the assent of the president. Fauci was more central to Biden than he was to me. At the end, yeah. At the beginning and for most of it, for the time he was president, no, not really. I don't think you can say that. And then they went on to have a comparison contrast about Trump's support of Fauci versus DeSantis' support of Fauci. And this doesn't really square with how it went down either.
I was not a big fan of Fauci. If you look at Ron DeSanctimonious, this guy said the greatest things. I can give you articles that Fauci's great. He's wonderful. We love him. We don't do anything without Fauci. This went on for months.
But he didn't listen to Fauci.
He did 100%. Look.
He shut down Florida
he shut down Florida.
For a month.
Oh, he shut it down for a lot longer. He shut down the beaches. He shut down the roads. He shut down a hospital. He was shutting down everything. He also had long lines of people getting the jab, as he called it. Let's all go get the jab. The guy tried to change history in Florida. Now, eventually Florida was open, but a lot of these other governors didn't shut down at all. South Dakota didn't shut down. McMaster, South Carolina, didn't shut down. Tennessee, there are states that didn't shut down at all. They probably did the best job.
But Ron DeSantis was under a lot of pressure, especially given the population, the age of a lot of Florida's citizens.
I'm not trying to blame anybody, but he should say, I closed it down. Eventually we opened it, but I closed it down. But I gave him the right to keep it open. If he wanted to, I let the governors make the determination as to whether or not to close it down.
That's, I mean, some of that. Because some of it is at the state level and some of it's at the city level. And they weren't necessarily always in coordination with one another when you had, for example, in South Carolina, a Republican governor and, say, in Charleston, Democrat mayor. But Charleston, South Carolina was shut down.
Yeah.
That's
Remember,
a fact.
we were supposed to go there for the RNC. We didn't do that.
For the RNC?
The Republican National Convention was supposed to be in Charleston, South Carolina. We were scheduled to go. We had a house rented back in the day. I'm just saying it was shut down, and they didn't have the Republican National Convention, like the big one. They had just a small version.
That wasn't in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yes, it was.
The RNC was in Charleston,
It was
South
supposed
Carolina.
to be in Charleston,
when?
South Carolina. I'm telling you, and we didn't go because of COVID. We didn't go on our trip.
Have I lost the? Have I blacked out? Was I?
You blacked out.
Did I fall asleep during a period of COVID? The RNC in 2020? What city was that in?
It was supposed to be in Charleston, South Carolina.
Was it?
Yes, we got a house.
It didn't happen. I know.
No,
and
it didn't happen. But we
remember.
were supposed to go, and Eric Thomas and Marcus Brown and Quinn. We had a house rented. It was going to be fun.
I guess since it didn't happen, I forgot where the RNC was supposed to be.
Yeah, that's where it was.
Huh. Anyway, it was locked down, but I mean, regardless, it didn't happen.
Sorry,
but
Charlotte, North Carolina. Excuse me.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Excuse me.
Why would it be in South Carolina?
Thank you.
Yeah.
My friend for texting that.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway,
you remember
we had a house
so well.
there.
Yeah. Charleston, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay. I mean, I should have given you like a 200-mile, 300-mile berth in terms of your accuracy.
Something in the liners, okay?
Okay. So anyway, and the DeSantis thing, I don't recall DeSantis other than maybe within the first few days where sort of everybody was taking their marching orders from what was coming from CDC and NIH and the personnel that was put forward by the Trump White House, because most people didn't know these people, didn't know them very well, didn't know their record. We talked to Carol Markowitz about this yesterday from the New York Post. You know, going into the pandemic, if you'd asked me about the CDC, high marks. I don't know. I don't know who they're Centers for Disease Control, so apparently they're a bunch of scientists trying to keep surprised of public health concerns, and so that's about all you had to know about the CDC, about all you did know about the CDC. So your default position was, yeah, I mean, I guess that's good. That sounds like something the government should do. And then you see the performance, and now that the approval rating of those agencies, of course, has plummeted, just like watching the performance of the FBI and seeing the approval rating of that agency plummet and so forth. So I get what Trump is trying to do here. He's basically trying to say fog of war. I'm not blaming anybody, but everybody did more or less the same thing. And Ron DeSantis was no better or worse than I was. And of course, Trump, always having to hyperbolize, tries to make him worse when he clearly was not. Clearly was not. Last little back and forth between Megyn and MAGA here. Vax and mask mandates. What about the vax? That's another big criticism of Trump from the right, which is the Operation Warp Speed, the cheering it on, the promoting of the vaccine plus boosters, although he wasn't around for much for the boosters. But the idea of getting it to market, calling this a wonderful success after the fact, when we know how many people have been injured by the vaccines, when we saw how the government overreached in terms of imposing mandates and so forth. Any regrets there? Any desire for any do-overs on COVID?
Some didn't shut down at all.
Operation Warp Speed, though. Yeah. That was on the vaccines. They were rushed through. They have helped, but also hurt a lot of people. And your White House actually supported mask mandates. So wouldn't you like a do-over on any of that?
Look, when this came in, nobody knew what the hell it was. It sounded like an ancient, pandemic. You thought that was from 200 years ago or from 1917. We never thought you'd have a pandemic. Nobody had any idea. We got word that bad things were happening in China right around the Wuhan clinic. And I was the one that said it was in the Wuhan clinic. And, you know, I stuck with it, and it was absolutely. It came out of the Wuhan clinic. But you take a look, and what we did was, this was brand new. Nobody knew what the hell it was. There's dust. Somebody said there's dust coming in from China, and it's killing people in Italy, and it's killing people in France, and it's going to kill people here. And by the way, I shut it down to China. That was a big move. I saved thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives by doing it. But honestly, I don't blame a lot of people because nobody knew what it was. Now we do understand it somewhat. Nobody really understands it even now fully. But nobody knew what COVID was, and it wasn't even a name. I called it the China virus. I still do. I call it the China virus. It came out of China. You know, they call it COVID and COVID-19. As far as the vaccine's concerned, you had the original COVID, and the vaccine had an impact on that. And there are some people, I will tell you, some friends of mine that are Democrat, I think they voted for me, but they're Democrat, very smart people, top people. They say, you know, I don't understand one thing. Why don't you talk more about the vaccine? It was one of the greatest things you've ever done. Now think of that. They say to me, and I say, I'm not going to talk about it one way or the other. First of all, no mandates. I don't want mandates. I never had mandates. Florida sort of had a mandate because they were giving the vaccine. They were demanding everybody take the vaccine. That's another thing. But no mandates, no anything. I didn't demand anybody take it.
What do you think about that?
Well, Florida did not have a vaccine mandate. It's fine that Trump didn't support vaccine mandates, but
do you credit him for, Operation Warp Speed?
To a certain extent, the extent where I stopped crediting him is when there were people suggesting that this is not relevant. Number one, that we don't really have a full handle on this. The clinical trials were a little bit slipshod. This doesn't seem to be a disease that's impacting young people, certainly in terms of serious illness or death. So maybe pushing vaccines on those that are otherwise young and healthy, particularly kids, but those otherwise young and healthy, maybe that's something we shouldn't be doing, shouldn't be recommending even, setting aside mandates. Trump's not for mandates. Okay, saying recommending cheerleading as he was. There were people in that time frame. We talked to them, people that are medical professionals and have an understanding of the science here, and were raising these concerns and questions, and they were largely silenced or ignored amid all the cheerleading, including by Trump. Bob, Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Thanks for taking my call. With regards to firing of Fauci, I'm just wondering if he would have done it, would have he gotten outrage from the left?
Yeah,
God, yeah.
And so
Fauci was a hero to the left.
So what?
Well, so then they would he would have had maybe a third impeachment.
So what?
Well, I just offer that.
Thanks for the call. Right.
No, I remember thinking that at the time. God, he should fire him. But if he did fire him, people would be out of their minds.
Well, then why do you have him as the president of the United States? Why don't you just have a leftist mob as the president of the United States? If the leftist mob can just express outrage, and I'm not going to do it if they express outrage, what kind of sense does that make? How is that executive leadership? Sorry,
as we found out more and more information.
That doesn't wash. Does not wash. Don't give me that excuse. It's pathetic. Number one. Number two, here's what he could have done and should have done. And a lot of people were saying this very early on when Fauci and Birx started to sound political rather than science-oriented. And that was pretty early on. Expand the circle. Get other people in there. When you had professionals coming forward, the Kaldorfs and the Bhattacharyas, pretty early on. Get Johan Gesicki in here from Sweden. All hands on deck. Let's get the best and the brightest of our people that are asking real questions, that are providing alternative viewpoints. Let's get some pushback in here so we're not being led down a primrose path by institutionalists like Fauci and Birx. That's what an executive would have done, an effective one, not one that's putting his finger in the wind and trying to gauge public opinion. That's trying to respond appropriately in crisis. Didn't do it.
Yep, you're
There's no way around it. Doesn't mean that if he's the nominee, shouldn't support him. You should. I will, but I'm not going to paper over the record.
Text message, humble. Dan and Amy, a word Trump will never know. She gave him the opportunity to have a do-over. This is one of the main reasons why I will not vote for him.
Corey Woodlawn.
Hey, it's kind of hard to criticize Trump doing that crap show that we went through for the last 4 years, but I will tell you this. I do fight him for shutting down the national parks because I really wanted to get out and get some sunshine, and they shut those parks down around this country. But the way the Democrats colluded, they took the money, they put it in their pensions, they increased their salary, they increased their allowances. It's kind of hard to criticize Trump when you see the collusion the Democrats went through during the pandemic.
All right, thanks for the call, Corey. We'll give Corey the last word on it.
Coming up on Chicago.
Migrant crisis. Mayor Brandon Johnson proposes a new scheme to fund housing for the homeless. More than 24 are hurt after a tent collapses in Bedford Park. One wanted in an Addison armed robbery. Bears getting set for the Bucs in Week 2. White Sox get crushed by the Twins. Cubs take on the D-backs, and the Fighting Illini getting set to take on number 7 Penn State. WIND Chicago News Times, 7.
A first-of-its-kind strike. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Auto workers walk off the job at all 3 big U.S. automakers at one plant each for now, but UAW President Shawn Fain warns.
If we need to go all out, we will. Everything is on the table.
Robin Murdoch with Fox 2 TV in Detroit is with picketers in Michigan.
The Ford Michigan assembly plant here in Wayne, it does employ about 4,600 workers. They make the Ford Bronco here. About 4,100 workers at that Stellantis assembly plant in Toledo, Ohio. They were also part of this first wave of walkouts. They produce the Jeep Wrangler, and then about 4,100 workers at GM's plant in Wentzville, Missouri. They also went on strike at the stroke of midnight. They build the Chevy GMC vans as well as pickup trucks.
Now, the automakers say they can't afford 40% pay hikes, and GM CEO Mary Barra just said this will not be good for the overall economy. We've just learned President Biden will talk about the strike the day after he went to Maryland, touting his economic agenda, taking a swipe at House Republicans who are considering impeachment, investigating his alleged ties to his son Hunter's business dealings.
Their plan, Bionomics, is more extreme than anything America's ever seen before.
Hunter Biden's lawyer also blames Republicans for a criminal indictment. Abby Lowell tells MSNBC.
It is the folks like Chairman Comer and the Republican MAGA crazies who have been pressuring this U.S. attorney to do something to vindicate their political position.
Hunter Biden's facing 3 felony gun charges after a tax evasion misdemeanor plea deal that would have wiped out a gun charge fell apart in July. Hurricane Lee may be weaker, but it's becoming extra tropical, getting wider as it moves toward impact in Canada near Maine this weekend.
And that means an expansion of the wind field, a bigger storm, and that's going to bring, more effects along the coast.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. America's listening to Fox News.
54 degrees. Some fog in spots, especially in the far west and south suburbs. 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 24 hurt after a large tent collapsed in a parking lot in Bedford Park. 26 were hospitalized and all 5 in serious condition. Police discovered a man shot multiple times in the middle of an apartment hallway in Chicago's Loop Thursday night. The man was transported to Northwestern Hospital in critical condition. Chicago's illegal migrant crisis on top of mind for city aldermen yesterday. Council voting 45-4 to spend another $34.5 million, mostly federal taxpayer dollars, to try and help remedy the matter.
This body has the fiduciary responsibility to safeguard the taxpayer dollar and use it accordingly, and none of us can explain where it's going. None of us know where it will go.
Also on Thursday, the mayor reintroduced his controversial Bring Chicago Home ordinance, seeking to tax high-end homeowners to fund his expansive housing scheme for low-income and homeless families. If passed, it would bring the funding question before voters in the March primary election. Homeowners groups, realtor communities, and others remain opposed. Alderman Maria Haddon tried to spin the mayor's new progressive plan.
Less than 6% of property sales are going to be impacted by this, and it's a small impact. And it's a small price to pay for security, for housing, for services.
Also, a South Shore preservation ordinance was introduced. It seeks to keep low-income housing from being wiped out by the Obama Presidential Center. Will County animal control officials Thursday asking Monee residents to be on the lookout for a missing wallaby. The organization's Facebook page warned of the missing wallaby named Rupert. Stands about 2 feet tall, weighs 45 pounds. The family does have a license for the exotic marsupial, and he is registered with the county. Twins hit 3 home runs in a 10-2 rout of the White Sox, while the Cubs continue their playoff push with a critical set against the Diamondbacks in the desert this weekend. Bears prepping for Tampa Bay on Sunday. Fighting Illini have a tough task as they get set for number 7 Penn State in the Big Ten opener at Memorial Stadium. The news, a service of In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John tomorrow afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right tomorrow afternoon at 4, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Cracked brickwork or caulking? Doors or windows that no longer open or shut properly? Permaseal can help with that. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. When you look around your house, do you see uneven floors, gaps under baseboards, basement walls leaning or bowing, new cracks in your drywall or ceiling, or sunken concrete next to your foundation? These can be signs of structural foundation issues that won't get better with time. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL. Too often we hear of homeowners paying for an expensive consultation just to determine the problem. Don't be one of them. We can evaluate your foundation and offer you a permanent solution at absolutely no charge. Since 1979, Permaseal has been committed to providing quality proven products and superior customer service. When the work is done, you'll have a transferable warranty along with priceless peace of mind. And now, through June, you'll save $300 off any structural repair. Call Permaseal 800-421-7325 or visit permaseal.net.
How far will the left go to win 2024? Will they send out more stimulus checks or give away trillions more to left-wing groups? The simple truth is they don't care if your retirement is eroded down to a fraction of its value. They just want to win. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to encourage you to diversify your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into a physical gold IRA. And the only company I recommend for gold IRAs is conservative-owned Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get their free info kit on gold IRAs. Do this now before Democrats have a chance to legislate away your life savings. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting PROTECT to the number 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. So use your agency. Take action now. Text the word PROTECT to the number 989898.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm telling you, I'll be 74 in May, and I can't tell you how good I feel. I'm telling you, have my sister on it and her husband and so many different people.
It's just what the advertisements say, which is you get more energy. It really is a balance that the body needs, because if you just take regular people's diet, there's no way that they get the amount of servings of vegetables and fruits that they need. And so what this does, it assures that you are getting that. It really is. It's a beautiful name, Balance of Nature. And I tell everybody about it. When you got other people recommending it, it's a big thing.
Happy National Fruits and Veggies Month. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer today to receive $35 off your first order. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. It is a service of health insurance mentors. Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you ever have. So call Stephen Tucker today. Visit healthinsurancementors.com, 630-674-1551. Inbound Edens, accident, left lane blocked between Dempster and Niles Center Road, 20 minutes in, and climbing on the inbound Edens. The Kennedy right now sits at an hour from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Same story on the inbound Ike, 390 to the old post office. Stevenson, 54 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Lots of sunshine. It'll be a nice day today. The high at 78. Mainly clear tonight, though, 58. Sun and clouds, a shower in spots late afternoon tomorrow. The high 75. And then cloudy with a shower in the area Sunday. Look for a high of 69. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
54 at O'Hare. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I know we have to get to justice system matters with Professor Jacobson, but I just have to. I just have to stop and
what?
Note Joe Biden's fabulism, which is a fancy way of saying lying once again. And by the way, I don't want to hear anybody attribute this to senility or false memory. He's a plagiarist. In his prime, he was a plagiarist. He has been a profligate liar his entire life, and it just doesn't stop. And it deserves to be called out. And Biden supporters should be challenged on this. I mean, and I get that Trump is hyperbolic and excesses, but he doesn't say that he witnessed a bridge collapse that he didn't witness. He doesn't say he was in New York the day after 9/11 when he was in D.C.
I mean,
he doesn't
the lies
say
go on and on.
He doesn't say that he was born before his grandfather died when he was born a week after. And use that again. All of these are part of apocryphal stories he tells to ingratiate himself. It's really unseemly, to be generous. And so National Security Council John Kirby had to defile himself yet again. Is there no low to which John Kirby will not sink these days? Didn't used to be the case. Pathetic. John Kirby asked about Joe Biden's recent foray of untruths.
John, in the past couple of weeks, the president has lied about being at Ground Zero the day after the September 11th attacks, falsely claimed he saw the Pittsburgh bridge collapse, claimed his grandfather died in the hospital days before his birth. What is going on with the president? Is he just believing things that didn't happen did happen, or is he just randomly making stuff up?
The president was deeply touched and honored to be able to spend 9/11 with military members there in Alaska and some families.
Yeah, I mean,
and was honored by their presence and the chance to make an.
Yeah, blah blah blah, John. And then yesterday in Maryland, when he's talking about Bionomics, something that's also fictional.
and everybody just wanted to get his reactions to the indictment, but yeah.
I taught at the University of Pennsylvania for 4 years, and I used to teach political theory. And folks, you always hear every generation has to fight for democracy.
Did he? What class did he teach now?
I taught political theory at University of Pennsylvania. He was a honorary member of the faculty, an honorary member with a phony think tank where he stashed classified documents, you'll recall. He never taught anything. It's just so tired. I mean, it really is tiresome, honestly. It's embarrassing, this Commander McBragg routine that he does all the time. And he really should be publicly shamed over it. Professor William Jacobson's a clinical professor of law and director of the Securities Law Clinic at Cornell Law School. He's also the founder of LegalInsurrection.com, and he's president of the Legal Insurrection Foundation. Professor Jacobson, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for giving us the time to indulge my little tirade as well. And now we'll move on to matters related to the justice system, like Hunter Biden's indictment. The beginning of an investigation after 5 years, or the end of one, do you think, Professor?
Well, I think it's probably the end of it. I think this is all he's ever going to be charged on is the gun charge, and he pleaded not guilty to some relatively minor tax charges, which had been reduced by the government. Anybody else would have been charged with a felony. So, yeah, I think that this is the government wrapping up its business under severe public pressure and public shaming and public embarrassment, where the judge wouldn't take their sweetheart plea deal with Hunter Biden a month or two ago. So, yeah, I don't see them going beyond that. It's going to be up to House committees. It's going to be up to Republicans to find out about the Biden, corruption scandal, which is a Joe Biden family problem, not a Hunter Biden problem. Hunter was the vehicle. From what we know, millions and millions of dollars flowed to the Biden family when Joe was vice president and afterwards. And that's the real story here. The gun charge and the tax charge is really a sideshow.
Well, what about failing to register as a foreign agent when working with a corporation overseas? The FARA
Yeah,
charge?
well, I think somebody else probably would have been charged with that, but it doesn't appear that they're going to be going there with Hunter. That might lead to more uncomfortable information about the Biden family, because who was he really representing through this? He was representing foreign governments in order to enrich his family, one member of whom was the vice president of the United States. So I think that would be much more interesting if he were to be charged with that.
On the impeachment inquiry, I'm sure you've seen the pat lines that are being dutifully recited by Democrat Socialist members of Congress, including Josh Moskowitz, who is a Democrat Socialist from Florida. Here's essentially how it goes against the backdrop of the Hunter Biden indictment on the gun charge and the impeachment inquiry this week. This is the two-step. Take a listen, get your reaction.
If there was something that was unethical, obviously, that borders on illegal, then it needs to be prosecuted, right? On the Hunter Biden stuff, right? That needs to be prosecuted. If he's broken the law, he needs to be held account. Democrats have said that on Donald Trump, who, has 50% of the president's impeachments in this country, 100% of its indictments. If Hunter Biden has done something wrong, he should be indicted. As far as the culture in Washington, the revolving door in Congress, the revolving door in the Pentagon, being able to make money off family members, listen, that may be something that Democrats and Republicans should address on a bipartisan basis.
Well, that's the thing.
But we can't just say, oh, Joe Biden's family did it, but they don't want to ask any questions about Jared Kushner getting $2 billion from the Saudis, who they blame for 9/11.
So Hunter Biden should be prosecuted because we're a law and order type here in the Democrat Socialist Caucus. And, everybody does what the Biden family did. And so we should think about reform sometime in the distant future. And now let's get back to Trump. 1, 2, 3, paint by numbers.
Yeah, well, and they are also throwing in there, you don't have definitive proof that he did anything wrong. Well, they didn't have definitive proof before he was even elected when they announced they were going to impeach Donald Trump. When the day he was elected, I think it was the Washington Post, ran articles about the impeachment has started. He just got sworn in. So, it's more than a double standard. I mean, I don't know that we've had anyone that I can recall who, while vice president, brought his son along with him on trips to cut business deals with the foreign entities the vice president was visiting as an official of the U.S., like Hunter Biden did in China. So I don't think we've ever seen anything as grotesque as what Joe Biden appears to have done to enrich his family. The fact that politicians use their influence once they lose office, well, yeah, I'd love to see that reformed. I'd love to see some reforms there. But that has nothing to do with what Joe Biden and his family did to enrich themselves.
Well, the other thing, too, is no evidence. When you're investigating somebody and that somebody's father, who is inextricably linked to him, is lying about his involvement, lying about conversations he did or didn't have, lying about meetings he was or was not at. Does that create suspicion? Is that circumstantial evidence that would prompt more investigation? This whole no evidence. Now, you may not think that the evidence reaches the level of criminality or even the standard for impeachment, maybe. But to say there's no evidence of anything that would raise suspicions around Joe Biden is just alternate universe type stuff.
Right. I mean, we're swimming in evidence compared to what they had on Donald Trump. I mean, on Donald Trump, when they moved to impeachment, they had rumors. They had a phony memo created by the Hillary Clinton campaign, or at least paid for by it, accusing Trump of absurd things at hotels in Moscow. They had nothing on him. They still have nothing on him with regard to Russia. And they're still, claiming he's an agent of Russia. So, yeah, there is a ton of evidence about Joe Biden. We have the information from Hunter Biden's laptop. We have what we witnessed with our own eyes, him accompanying the vice president on trips where he's cutting business deals. So there's a ton of evidence. Whether there's enough for the Senate to convict him, I don't know. That's a political thing. And so is a House impeachment is a very political act. But there's plenty of evidence that Joe Biden was dirty and he used it to enrich his family.
David Weiss's performance as the U.S. Attorney for Delaware, now very late in the game, the special prosecutor. How do you view that? What does that say about the justice system? Is that just a situation where David Weiss's hands are tied, so it's okay that he backs up Merrick Garland's story, even when he was saying something very different to the IRS, according to whistleblowers? Is that just the nature of being a law enforcement officer in a political context, or does it speak to something that is really rotten in the Department of Justice?
Well, there's a lot of concerns before this about the politicization of the Justice Department. I mean, under Merrick Garland, they seem to weigh in very, very heavily on political issues. For example, the parents' movement, somehow suggesting that needs to be investigated, or is it a level of concern? Why don't you just mind your business and let parents voice their opinions at school board meetings and stay out of it? And if a parent gets unruly at a school board meeting, that's something the local cops can deal with, or the local prosecutors. Why is the Department of Justice always seeming to weigh in on political topics? And that's the concern, whether there's deep rot there or whether it's just the appearance of deep rot. I think there is the appearance that the Department of Justice takes political sides in disputes, and that's not what we want from an extraordinarily powerful agency that has the ability, as they've done with Donald Trump, to scour your life trying to find a crime that you committed.
Do you think that there's a possibility, back to Hunter Biden's indictment, that President Biden would do a preemptive pardon and say, you know what, now decided I'm not going to run for a second term?
Well, I think we can say fairly certainly that Hunter Biden is never going to serve a day in jail, because if it ever got to the point that he's tried and convicted, I think Joe Biden as president will pardon him. And I think that if Joe Biden doesn't run again, he will pardon him on before he leaves, maybe not even wait on it. So Hunter Biden's never going to serve a day in jail for anything he ever did, and so that, I think, is what we're going to see. This is really a question of whether this is a Joe Biden story. This is not a Hunter Biden story. And the question is whether Joe Biden will ever be held politically to account for the deep corruption he appears traded while vice president and subsequently.
He is Professor William Jacobson, clinical professor of law, director of the Securities Law Clinic at Cornell Law School, founder of legalinsurrection.com, and president of the Legal Insurrection Foundation as well. Professor Jacobson, thank you as always.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Barbecue bags and brews sound great right about now. But are you really ready to entertain on that dirty, oil-stained driveway or patio? No oil stain removal is too big or too small for Commuter Environmental. Whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, you can use Cabino Oil Stain Remover. It's a safe, effective, and powerful oil stain lifting formula. This is not the same stuff you buy at the big box store. This is a concentrated, all-natural stain lifter that goes deep into the concrete or brick for superior cleaning. Simply pour it on the soiled area, let it dry, and then brush away. Start your cleanup at CabinoEnvironmental.com. The Cabino Environmental Response Team will come to your rescue across Northern Illinois and the Milwaukee area. And you can purchase the Cabino Oil Stain Remover online and have it shipped anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Can't wait? Cabino Oil Stain Remover is also now available at your local Rental Max.
All right. Are you tired of the heat and humidity? But more importantly, the musty, damp, smelly odor that hits you when you walk in your front door? Well, the air from your basement or crawl space will permeate up into your living space. Do you know that the air in your home can be 4 times more polluted than the air outside? Well, Permaseal can help with that, my friends. The Permit Dry air filtration and dehumidification system is what you're going to want to get. It dehumidifies and filtrates the air all in one unit. It controls the humidity and cleans that air and prevents the increases of mold spores. That was the name of your high school band, right? Mold spores. And removes them thoroughly. Also, the Permadry does not cost a lot of money to run either. You can save up to $189 a year in electricity costs over that store-bought portable. In the warmer months, dehumidifiers seriously help your AC run more efficiently, saving you money. Be sure to ask, too, about their crawl space encapsulation and clean space basement. Call them today for a free estimate, 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325, or simply visit permaseal.net.
Hey, is your cell phone in desperate need of replacement? It's time to put that old phone to rest. Upgrade to the all-new 5G Samsung Galaxy, and you can get it from Pure Talk for absolutely free. Now get a free 5G Samsung Galaxy with 2-day battery life and ultra-strong Gorilla Glass when you sign up for Pure Talk's unlimited talk, text, and 15-gig data plan for only $35 a month. Plus, it comes with mobile hotspot. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE NOW, Pure Talk.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password,
for you to become a victim.
LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
I just found out about Dan's new podcast. Where you tell us about it?
It's called Counterculture.
I'm sorry. Speak up, Sonny.
It's called Counterculture.
I'm old. Counterculture?
Counterculture. Yes. I tweeted the first episode with Berenson. I'll tweet more and VDH and then go to American Greatness's YouTube channel and you can access them there. And then, in a few days, they'll be on all the platforms.
Because you know what I need more in my life? More Dan Proft.
Well, it's not so much about me, although it is about me. It's also about
the people you're
the great guests we get.
Yes.
Here on this show as well as for my podcast. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what else is great and that you should be doing
Mold
is
spores.
taking balance of nature. Have you seen the new commercial? They have golfers that are a little bit younger than you.
You used to be in a commercial. I saw it on Fox News.
I
What
know.
happened?
What do you mean? What
Did you get
happened?
replaced by Sebastian Gorka or
I got
something?
replaced by what's her name? Oh my
Kathy
God, with
Lee
the
Gifford.
vavoom vavoom.
Kathy Lee Gifford.
Yeah, that's all right. Maybe it'll go back into
Younger
circulation.
model, I guess.
Oh.
Oh.
But in the latest Balance of Nature commercial, they're featuring golfers who claim and believe that Balance of Nature has changed their game because it gives you more energy.
How many are on the tour?
I know. More energy makes you stronger and you think more quickly, and it helps their golf game. And why do they take Balance of Nature? Because they're like me, not getting enough fruits and veggies on their own, and that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 31 whole fruits and vegetables, real food, real nutrition. So get the nutrition your body needs, and once you start taking it, get the nutrition your body craves. Get Balance of Nature. Just try it out. Give it a few weeks. Some people notice a difference right away. Others, it takes a week. For me, it took just a few days, that's for sure. So be one of the cool kids. Order your bottles of fruits and veggies today. 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Be sure to use discount code Chicago First-timers get free shipping and 35% off your first order of fruits and veggies, or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to use discount code Chicago.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Discover Chicago Build Expo, the Midwest's largest construction and design show, officially supported by the Mayor of Chicago. Join us at McCormick Place on October 11th to 12th. Connect with 25,000 plus attendees, including contractors, architects, realtors, engineers, developers, and government officials over 2 jam-packed days. Gain industry insights from 400 plus top speakers across 12 conference tracks and AIA CES-approved workshops. Meet 250 plus exhibitors as they showcase the latest innovations and products revolutionizing the industry. Experience the biggest festival of construction with fully immersive experiences, a tasty food and drinks trail, captivating competitions, DJs and live performances, and the Architects Hub featuring visionary projects. Celebrate inclusivity at the largest networking events for the Midwest for women in construction and diversity in construction. Secure your free tickets at ChicagoBuildExpo.com now. We can't wait to see you there.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Love and Rockets?
What's wrong with this?
No? Is this Love and Rockets? Yeah. Wow. That's a pretty deep dig for a kid like Justin. Yeah, very good. All right, coming up at 7:37, John Nolte, Breitbart News senior writer. He's got a new book out, and he was a Hollywood screenwriter before he met Andrew Breitbart. So talk to him about his new fictional book, and we'll talk to him about the real world testimony of Tim Ballard, he of Sound of Freedom fame, his testimony before Congress on border security. That's at 7:37.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Mike, what does your cap say today? People texted in, they want to know.
Hang on. Let me make sure I get it right.
Dan says
Join or
cheap.
die.
What does it say?
Join or die.
Join or die.
Gadsden flag?
No, it's the join or dine. It's
I
the
see it.
snake.
I see it.
Pre-Revolutionary War rallying drawing. My daughter got it for me at the Yorktown.
All right. Well, just as long as you
Well,
don't
your
walk
daughter
in
is
National
very
Park.
smart.
Just as long as you don't walk into any government school with
Yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah, you're fine.
Not a great idea. 54 degrees at 7:33. Libyan authorities are evacuating residents from an inundated city right now, and they're limiting access to it as searchers dig through mud and hollowed out buildings for 10,000 people feared missing and dead in Derna. The death toll already is past 11,000. Tropical storm warnings are out in Massachusetts as former Hurricane Lee barrels toward New England and the Canadian Maritimes. The storm is on track to bring wind damage and flooding. U.S. auto workers are striking. All three of Detroit's major car companies striking workers at the moment out front of a Ford plant in suburban Detroit.
I was upset because we want to stay here and work, but we want our deal, we want our money. So we got to come out here and do what we got to do.
The UAW will halt production on the Ford Bronco, the Jeep Wrangler, and the Chevy Colorado, among other models. Former President Trump says it's very unlikely he'd pardon himself if he's elected in 2024.
Well, I think it's very unlikely. What did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. You mean because I challenged an election, they want to put me in jail?
Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, he claimed he did nothing wrong. This morning, former Anaheim, California Mayor Harry Sidhu is expected to plead guilty to federal corruption charges. He's been charged with obstruction of justice, wire fraud, and lying to federal investigators. Sidhu is accused of conspiring to benefit from the now canceled sale of a stadium in the city of Anaheim to the Angels. The Republican faces a total of 35 years in prison. Closing arguments this morning in the impeachment trial of Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. A United Airlines flight from Newark, New Jersey to Rome dove more than 28,000 feet in 10 minutes and was forced to return to a New Jersey airport. The Boeing 777 had problems with cabin pressurization. More than 24 are hurt after a large tent collapse in a parking lot in Bedford Park. 26 were taken to the hospital, 5 in serious condition. A 17-year-old has been arrested in Mexico facing murder charges after Joliet police said he fatally shot a man earlier this summer. According to Joliet police, Nathan Melchor was arrested August 30th in Tijuana, Mexico, and is now in the River Valley Justice Center. No cash bail will be the law of the state of Illinois on Monday. Money is gone as a condition of pretrial release after a challenge from virtually every state's attorney. Illinois' highest court upheld the law, paving the way for the new system to take effect. Beginning Monday, police must issue citations for suspects accused of low-level misdemeanors. Those individuals will be given a court date and then released. For more serious crimes, where there is an arrest and the suspect remains in custody, Cubs have a critical playoff push series with Arizona at Chase Field this weekend. The news, the service of the Pride stores. Stop by their new location, the Pride of Kane County in St. Charles. Kirk and Maine, weekly grand opening specials, exciting raffles. The Pride stores, not your typical convenience store. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
November 2nd, 2020, marked the 100th anniversary of the first commercial radio broadcast. We're still here, and we're bigger and better than ever. You can still listen to us over this great radio station, but now there are no limitations. Your smartphone is now your smart radio. Listen to us online on the app, TuneIn.com, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey.com. Your smart speaker can find us too. With radio, there is no separation anxiety. We're always on. AM 560, The Answer.
Men.
And women.
It's sometimes hard to talk about, but it takes a real toll on your life. Pelvic floor issues. What is that?
Pelvic pain, rectal pain, pain with intimacy, pelvic organ prolapse, painful or loss of bladder or bowel control, overactive or underactive bladder, and constipation.
Good news. Cotorinos Physical Therapy pioneered many of the physical therapy approaches to drastically change the problems you are dealing with without drugs. Strategies to fix the problem. It's time to make the call and have a conversation.
630-620-0232. Don't feel like there's nothing you can do, because there is.
Pelvic floor issues can affect your sleep, your activities, and your life. Cotorinos Physical Therapy has been helping people for over 46 years. It's their specialty.
They simply know more about it. They successfully treat men and women of all ages, and they can help you too. Call and ask about your issues.
Cotorinos Physical Therapy, 630-620-0232. Go to pelvictreatment.com.
Pelvictreatment.com. 3 Chicagoland locations.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are
are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-57-BIBLE. That's 844-57-BIBLE. 844-57-BIBLE.
Cardiologists at Oxford University discovered that classical music lowers blood pressure, and September is Classical Music Month. So put on some Mozart or perhaps a little Beethoven, but if classic music isn't your jam, maybe you prefer classic rock like me. I have another suggestion for you. 120 Life, a functional juice drink made with natural ingredients like tart cherries, cranberries, and beetroot. It's what I reach for when the Marxist mafia gets my blood boiling, which is every day. It's delicious, it's easy, it works fast. 120 Life helps lower blood pressure and will help you stay hydrated as well. You can check it out at 120life.com. That's 120life.com. It's a great website for information and helpful resources to help manage high blood pressure. And for your convenience, you can try their 2-week trial pack with money-back guarantee. Use coupon code LIBERTY at checkout for 15% off your order plus free shipping. Try 120 Life today at 120life.com. Tell them Sean Thompson sent you. So whether it's through Music Beats or Beetroot or even Beethoven, it's all about getting your blood pressure under control.
7:40. Let's get a quick check on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Jane Addams clearing an accident eastbound at Route 53. Tri-State jams up northbound between the Grand Avenue curve and Irving Park on the interior expressways. 57 in the Bishop Ford, slow all the way into the Ryan merge from 115th on I-57 and from the Stony Island feeder into the Ryan merge on the Bishop Ford. Ryan itself, a half hour, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Watch out on the Stevenson. You've got an accident left shoulder inbound at Cicero, causing delays. It's an hour 5 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Sunshine in your forecast. High 78, clear and 58 overnight. 54 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka, weekday afternoons at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Tim Ballard, he's the DHS agent, former DHS agent, whose story and life's work was memorialized in the movie Sound of Freedom. I always want to say Cry Freedom.
Yeah, it's Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, Cry Freedom was the Stephen Biko movie. Denzel Washington, Stephen Biko. Remember Kevin Kline as the journalist?
Oh, yeah, I saw that movie.
You didn't see Cry Freedom either? You
I
didn't see
saw
Coming to
Sound of-
America? You didn't see Cry Freedom?
No, but I did see Sound of Freedom.
Well, that's a
and I
start.
loved it. I mean, it was painful to watch, but it really woke you up. And I've never left a movie theater wanting to do something to help a problem more than that movie.
Well, Cry Freedom and Sound of Freedom have something in common. They're essentially, they essentially both document man's inhumanity to man. Although Peter Gabriel didn't do a song for Sound of Freedom, that would have been helpful. Anyway, here's what Tim Ballard had to say. Remember how the left was so outraged about quote-unquote children in cages at the border?
Oh, yeah. AOC was there, and she was crying, her head in her hands.
How
look
about
at the kids.
How about 85,000 children, minors, unaccompanied, came here and have disappeared? And the federal government doesn't know where 85,000 kids are. And they're more likely than not, some of them at least, are in the hands of human traffickers and are being grotesquely exploited. That was the testimony of Tim Ballard in support of the Secure Act, which would compel the Department of Homeland Security to investigate and document where these 85,000 children went. The government is so interested in protecting children. Right.
Traffickers use our southern border to bring slaves into our country for the sex industry because the United States is one of the highest consumers in child sex abuse material in the world. Our federal agents who work at the southern border are women and men of the highest integrity and dedication. Yet despite the hard work and success, agents on the ground, one thing has become vividly clear. Poor U.S. border security and broken U.S. policy are feeding the growth of human trafficking in the United States. One way this is seen is the absence of physical barriers on our border. I have personally seen how ports of entry were responsible for helping rescue a child, catch a sexual predator, and start a chain of events that rescued multiple children from his abuse. On the other hand, I've spoken with survivors who were trafficked by cartels, taking advantage of the miles of unprotected U.S. border. In one case in particular, a young woman was brought across the border at an area where no barriers or protections existed. Once in the U.S., she was sold and raped for money up to 30 to 40 times a day for 5 years before eventually escaping herself. She shared with me the tragic conclusion that had her captors been forced to attempt a crossing into our country at the port of entry, just like the little boy you saw in the film, that she would have had a better chance of being rescued. But the success we've seen in interdicting human trafficking at points of entry means nothing if our immigration policies allow traffickers to flaunt legal loopholes. Recently, members of Congress sounded the alarm on information that the government has lost track of 85,000 minors that crossed the border unaccompanied. And the New York Times reported that the Department of Health and Human Services has lost contact with thousands of children who were released to sponsors that are now, and these children are now feared of being risk for exploitation.
How's that grab you? Another aspect of the open borders policy of this administration and of the Democrat Socialist Party writ large. And their reaction to the migrant issues that have been visited upon major metropolises now, like Chicago and New York. The reaction to that, the reaction to what Tim Ballard is testifying about. I think it's nicely encapsulated by Dan Goldman, ironically, a Democrat socialist from New York. He was asked about all of Eric Adams' caterwauling and what's happening in New York City. Eric Adams saying they're going to destroy the city. That's what he said.
Do you not think that the migrant crisis or the southern border situation is at all a security threat to New Yorkers?
I don't think it's any more of a security threat to New Yorkers than domestic violent extremism or other threat.
It's no more of a threat to New Yorkers than anybody who attended Trump's speech on January 6th. That's as much of a threat to New Yorkers as open borders. Okay. John Nolte is a Breitbart News senior writer. He's got a new book out, new novel. He writes fiction, too. Writes nonfiction for Breitbart, but he writes fiction in his free time. And the new novel is called Borrowed Time. We'll talk to him about that a bit as well. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Always good to talk to you.
So, from Tim Ballard to Eric Adams, it's interesting, the hue and cry about open borders across the political spectrum.
Yeah, Eric Adams when he took office, he welcomed illegal immigrants. This is a sanctuary city. So the virtue signaling now has met reality, and it is going to destroy a city. We're reading over and over again about all these parts of the city that are being destroyed because we're importing the third world. We're not vetting anyone. We're putting them up at these hotels and airports and motels and abandoned buildings and gyms, and they're destroying the city because these are not people who have been vetted. These are not people who came here to aspire or who love the idea of America. They just came here to get free stuff, and they know Biden's going to give them free stuff. And this is how the great replacement theory works. These are the people that the Democrats can get to vote for them, and that's what they want to do. They want to destroy Texas, turn it blue. They want to destroy Oklahoma, turn it blue. And they've already done it to Arizona. The Arizona's almost blue now. New Mexico. So California's lost. California, when I was growing up, was a Republican state. Then they let in all these illegal immigrants. Now it's left wing as it gets, and that's the goal. That's all that's going on here. And they don't care about the kids. To them, morality is the goal, and whatever it takes to achieve that goal. Few thousand, 100,000 kids get lost or raped 30 times a day. To them, that's just the price people have to pay for their utopia.
Dan Henninger had a good piece about this in part, and he sort of encapsulated like an overarching theme for this coming election, arguing against Republicans who think that you just have to talk dollars and cents. It's just Bionomics. You have to stay away from the culture because you don't want to be forced to talk about abortion and gender ideology. He argues that the larger play is a personal responsibility one, and that includes those cultural issues. It includes the impact of marijuana legalization and decriminalization. It includes the decriminalization of shoplifting in major cities. It includes the open border policy. It includes the forgiveness of, or the socialization of student debt gambit of the Biden administration. It includes Democrats' opposition to work requirements for welfare. The whole idea that voters 35 to 64 are watching the fabric of society frayed purposely by the left and saying, this is not what I want to leave for this is not what I'm teaching my kids, and it's not what I want to leave for my kids. The personal responsibility election, if you will, the personal responsibility litmus test for this election. What do you think of that positioning?
Yeah, I think we tried to make that argument in 2022 in the midterms. And I've always had faith in the American voter, and I was certain the Democrats were going to be humiliated. And they weren't. And I don't know what to think of it anymore. I don't know what the approach is. The only thing that I find heartening right now is that if you look at the Real Clear Politics poll of average polls, Trump is beating Biden nationally. And in the 2020 election, Trump never topped Biden, and in this poll of polls throughout the whole cycle, never topped Biden. And in fact, Biden was always ahead by at least 4 points. So maybe something's changing, and maybe all of these things are coming to the forefront, and people are seeing the videos of the mass looting. They're seeing the videos of all these people pouring across the border, and they're seeing, and now because Greg Abbott, the Texas governor, is a genius, Democrats are actually having to know what sanctuary means as these illegals are funneled into these left-wing cities, which is where they belong. So maybe this is enough. I don't know. But after the midterms, which should have been a blowout, I just don't know where the voters at, and I don't know how to reach them because mutilating kids at the altar of trans gods, that should have been enough in my book, and it just wasn't.
Speaking of books, your new book, Borrowed Time. Why should Democrats read a book written by a Breitbart guy?
What a great question. You know, one of the things I've been doing at Breitbart for the last almost 20 years now is I've been railing against Hollywood because Hollywood is destroying entertainment by turning entertainment into propaganda. And when a movie works. It takes you away. You escape into it. And if you want to destroy that beautiful gift that movies give us, you interject lectures and you interject propaganda and rhetoric. So Borrowed Time is my book. It obviously reflects my worldview. But one of the things I worked very hard at was not doing that. Ask anyone that I asked to read it early, that I said, can you look at this for me and tell me if I have something? I told them the same thing. And I gave it to left-wing people, too, because I have left-wing friends. I said, is it a page turner? Did you want to know what happened next? Did it capture you? Did you find it engrossing? And I said, if you get to a point where you don't want to read it anymore, where it becomes homework, put it down and tell me what page you didn't want to read it anymore. So that was my primary goal, was to just write an engrossing story that will just take people away and let them escape for a little bit. That doesn't mean it's not about things. You know, the great escapist movies out there, you know, Shawshank Redemption, Treasure Sierra Madre that you get lost, they're about something important, but they don't beat you over the head. They don't break the storytelling spell. And that was my primary goal.
Yeah, no, and there's as I read the synopsis, there's a supernatural element to it as well, right? Which is is kind of timely given. Well, I mean, I'll just disclose this piece of it, which is kind of timely given the futurists on staff at places like Google that are trying to figure out how to put their brains on titanium bodies and live forever.
Yeah, my protagonist is immortal. He's been alive for thousands of years.
Oh, wow.
But what made him different, at least from what I've seen in pop culture, there might be someone who's done this, is that he's just a regular guy. He's not a vampire. He's not a superhero. He's not part of some cosmic thing like the Highlander series. He's just a regular guy. He doesn't even know why he's immortal. And he's trying to navigate our society, modern society. He's trying to stay hidden. But, you know, the way our society is encroaching on all of us, digital money, social security numbers, everybody carries a phone, our phones track us. He finds this very difficult. And what he ends up doing to protect his family, to provide for his family, is he sells his life. That's his renewable resource. So he sells his life to rich people and allows them to kill him however they want, because he always comes back. And the story kind of kicks off when he sells his life to the wrong people.
Interesting. No, I like it. I you know, and you're right about this too. I was just having this conversation with Andrew Klavan, who's been railing about conservatives building their own art house castles, if you will, for 20 years. The need to be storytellers like this. You have themes that reflect values and worldviews, as you were just saying, but you tell them in story format the way that the great art does, the way that Flannery O'Connor did. So we definitely need more hands on deck on that score. And you're one of them. John Nolte is the senior writer for Breitbart News. And the new book he was just describing, fiction, Borrowed Time by John Nolte. Pick it up. John, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you both very much. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having nationwide access with an annual deductible of only $226. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor, C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com, is someone I know and trust. He's a 28-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Hi, folks. Dennis Prager here. You've probably been hearing my colleagues and me talking about investing with YRefi for a while now. You may have some questions, so let's review. It's true. You can earn up to a 10.25% fixed rate of return that is not correlated to the stock market or the Fed. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and there are absolutely no fees. There is no attack on principal if you ever need your money back, and you'll get your monthly statement with no surprises. Just go to investYRefi.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then refi, REFY.com. Or call 888-YRefi24. Folks, this is a solid investment that actually helps people. Just go to investYRefi.com or call 888-YRefi24 and tell them Dennis Prager sent you.
When this is the sound of a crackling campfire on a cool evening, you can sit back and relax. But when it's the sound of your counters and cabinets smoking and smoldering following a house fire that's affected your entire kitchen, you need to pick up the phone and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-ServPro when fire damage strikes. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Test Director Rick from ServPro, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. It's my job to make sure our pros are prepared for anything. Storm damage? Fixed. Flood damage? We're on it. Fire damage? Not anymore. Aliens? What? Aliens? We cleaned those sites a while ago. No matter the disaster, our pros will make it like it never even happened. Find out why ServPro is the #1 choice for residential and commercial restoration projects large and small. Visit servpro.com today.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Look forward to speaking with our next guest. She is Tiffany Justice. She's the co-founder of Moms for Liberty. A lot of ink spilled over Moms for Liberty recently, including a weekend interview that she and her co-founder did in the Wall Street Journal. Very good. She's also the host of the Joyful Warriors podcast. Moms for Liberty co-founder Tiffany Justice at 8:08.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Chicago aldermen approved more money for the illegal migrant crisis in Chicago. One wanted in an Addison armed robbery after a search in Hinsdale. Bears visit the Buccaneers in Week 2 while the White Sox get crushed by the Twins. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Thousands of auto workers aren't working. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. They went on strike after midnight at 3 plants, demanding big pay raises, a 4-day work week, and better benefits. The automakers say they can't afford all that, but have made historic counteroffers. Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble just talked to GM CEO Mary Barra.
No one wins. The employee doesn't win. The communities suffer. You know, at General Motors, for every one job we have, it supports 6 other jobs in the economy.
They have said that they will be able to scale up this strike if they choose to. This is the first time the UAW has gone on strike against all of the big 3 automakers at once. As we speak, workers are off the job picketing at a GM plant in Missouri, a Ford plant in Michigan, and a Stellantis plant in Ohio.
We expect reactions soon to the strike from President Biden, a big supporter of unions. His son Hunter's been indicted on 3 felony gun charges. But his lawyer blames what he calls Republican crazies for pressuring the special counsel after a tax evasion plea deal fell apart in July that would have wiped away a gun charge. But Republicans are wary of the indictment.
I do think this is a smokescreen designed to dupe the public.
Presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy tells Fox Business as House Republicans investigate President Biden for his alleged role in his son's overseas business dealings.
I believe they are selling off and have sold off our foreign policy in return for privately enriching their family.
Ramaswamy's third in the 2024 Republican race in a new Fox News poll just behind Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who's 47 points back of the frontrunner.
The new poll shows 6 of 10 GOP voters backing former President Trump.
A Trump critic is way, way back in the poll.
Ex-New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is the candidate 53% of Republicans say they would never vote for.
That's Fox's Gernal Scott. America's listening to Fox News.
55 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 2 dozen hurt after a large tent collapsed in a parking lot in Bedford Park. It happened yesterday along 73rd Street. 26 were sent to the hospital, 5 in serious condition. Authorities are searching for a suspect wanted in an armed robbery after a suburban business in Addison was held up. The robbery happened yesterday at a cell phone store along West Lake. Shortly afterward, officers located a vehicle believed to be involved in the armed robbery. They found that car near the Tri-State and Ogden Avenue in Hinsdale. Authorities searched the area, arrested one, but another suspect remains at large. Chicago's illegal migrant crisis is top of mind for the city's aldermen who voted 45-4 yesterday to spend another $34.5 million, mostly federal taxpayer dollars, to try and help remedy the matter. The vast majority of that money, again, comes from federal grants. The rest will be used to purchase property on the north side, formerly used by the Marine Corps, and convert it into a migrant shelter.
We did not choose this reality, but we must act. The cost of inaction could cause far more desperation in a situation that could be unmanageable.
Also on Thursday, the mayor reintroduced his controversial Bring Chicago Home ordinance, and a South Shore preservation ordinance was also introduced, seeking to keep low-income housing from being wiped out by the Obama Presidential Center. And continuing with the theme, illegal migrants, including a few asylum seekers, will move into the Chicago Parthenon Hotel in Greektown today, the second time that hostel has been used to shelter illegal migrants coming to Chicago. Around 200 are making their way into temporary housing located on South Halsted near Jackson. Twins rout the White Sox 10-2. Cubs have a critical playoff series ahead of the end of the season against Arizona on the road this weekend. And the Bears are prepping for the Bucks, that game on the road Sunday at Raymond James Stadium. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The United Auto Workers Union is conducting a targeted walkout against the big three automakers, stopping work at one plant at each company. Both General Motors and Ford shares are losing ground. Stellantis shares are flat. GM CEO Mary Barra says the walkout will not be good for the economy overall. She says GM is ready to keep negotiations going and believes the strike could be resolved very quickly. Now that British chip designer ARM stunned with its stock launch that valued the company at more than $65 billion, the Wall Street Journal says ARM needs to have its business run more than perfectly if it's to live up to the expectations of Wall Street. Grocery delivery company Instacart is planning to launch its stock next week. It's raising expectations, hoping to launch the stock at $30. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Hi, this is Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois. Recently, I saved a woman from being robbed. Her husband had passed away, and some of his friends had stopped by to buy his guns. Luckily for her, she heard my commercials and decided to call me before she sold them. I'm happy to report that she received at auction over 4 times the amount she had been offered. It's a simple, easy process. Donnelly Auction holds a federal firearms license and does all the necessary paperwork to sell your guns legally at auction. And we offer free pickup. So call me before you sell them outright, because you could be leaving a fortune on the table. And you won't know until you call me at 815-923-7000 or send me an email at DonnellyAuctions.com. My job is to get you top dollar for your guns and military collections, so call me today at 815-923-7000. I'm Randy Donnelly, and I'll see you at the auction.
Hun, we need to stop putting off getting life insurance.
I know. It's just been so busy, and I'm sure the cost is out of our budget.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. All online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they had to do was answer a few health questions.
Wait, no medical exam and all online?
I know, right? It's not easy to think about, but if something happened to you, James and I would be...
Okay, I get it. Let's get a quote from Ethos right now. Wow, you were right. There's no medical exam. And Ethos makes the whole online process fast and easy. And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
How far will the left go to win 2024? Will they send out more stimulus checks or give away trillions more to left-wing groups? The simple truth is they don't care if your retirement is eroded down to a fraction of its value. They just want to win. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to encourage you to diversify your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into a physical gold IRA. And the only company I recommend for gold IRAs is conservative-owned Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get their free info kit on gold IRAs. Do this now before Democrats have a chance to legislate away your life savings. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting PROTECT to the number 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. So use your agency. Take action now. Text the word PROTECT to the number 989898.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
8:09, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Wilkins Hyundai and Mazda in Elmhurst. Experience the next level of excellence at Wilkins Hyundai and Mazda. Minutes from Oak Brook, downtown in Schaumburg, in Elmhurst. View new and pre-owned inventory online at wilkinscars.com. The Kennedy at an hour O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. While the Ike is at 59 minutes into the old post office, Stevenson 55 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan 34 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Lots of sunshine. It'll be a nice day today. The high at 78. Mainly clear tonight, low 58. Sun and clouds, a shower in spots late afternoon tomorrow, the high 75. And then cloudy with a shower in the area Sunday. Look for a high of 69. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
It is 60 at O'Hare, 62 along the lakefront. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3. Brought to you by Pure Shale Financial Group at PureShaleFinancial.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. This was an interesting exchange. Mike Pence did a town hall on News Nation.
I watched some of it.
And it included this question from an LGBTQIA two-spirit plus
She was hysterical.
person who also claims to be some sort of professor of social work. Take her at her word, I don't know. Like, sounds like she might need a counselor. This is her question to Mike Pence after he explained his view on transing kids without mom and or dad, knowing about it in the schools.
Alistair, she's a professor of social work in Iowa who's joining us, who I understand may have a little bit of a different view on this, but we wanted to let her ask you a question.
This is so staged, I think.
Good evening, Vice President. I am an LGBTQ member, and I have trans individuals in my family. Recent anti-LGBTQ bills have been signed into law all around this United States, including here in Iowa. So far in 2023, 15 transgender individuals and gender nonconforming people have been murdered. The vast majority of those people have been Black and Latinx transgender women.
In Iowa?
It is very hard for me to ask these questions after just hearing what I heard. What is your policy plan to protect the transgender community, specifically Black and brown trans women, from historically high levels of violence?
Well, Melissa, let me say I'm deeply grieved to hear about those tragic circumstances, and I hear your heart, and I'm moved by your emotion. I truly am. Look, if I'm president of the United States, I'm going to see to the protection of every American and the rights of every American.
It kind of carries on from there, does Pence.
How would you have answered that question?
Well, I'll tell you in a second, but dealing with sentimentality like that from that professor, you don't deal with it with sentimentality. You deal with it with rationality. It's the only way. Because I hope you hear my heart, because I hear your heart. Hallmark moment stuff doesn't work.
Do you understand the vice president's idea that there is a difference between how adults conduct their lives and make decisions and that of how kids do?
Absolutely. I'm a social worker. I've been in this profession for 25 years. I've worked with kids most of my profession. I started an LGBTQ youth program in my own hometown. I started one in Terre Haute, Indiana, where I was threatened with KKK and X is on my doorstep, and that was in 2020. I have worked with kids as young as 5 years old that have gender nonconforming and identities that are transgender, and I've raised one. And so to hear somebody tell me that it's not okay for young children to make decisions about their gender identity and to ask their school officials for support, protection, and help is appalling.
Well, here's something else you're going to find appalling, Professor. You're appalling. Your position is untenable. It is barbaric. And as a presidential candidate, I won't support it. And if we have that disagreement, well, that's just so sad, too bad, because prepubescent children deciding on medical decisions, making decisions that are medical in nature and potentially permanent, and school officials you characterize as helping, facilitating, when the zeitgeist of the moment is to cut mom and dad out of that conversation. Go ask the Attorney General in California if you don't believe me. Sorry, I'm not on board. No one supports violence against anyone. No. So don't give me that sophistry that somehow you care more about people who have been victimized by criminals than I do. No, you don't. And neither does the party to which you affiliate. So I'm sorry, but I'm not having it. I'm not having it. That's the response that you, in my view, that you deliver to a sentimentalist like that professor. Let me give you an example of somebody who does it a little bit better. Ron DeSantis in May, when he got stuck up by a reporter with the same line of attack.
Cultural issues that you've identified here. Do you think American voters want a leader?
How many of these people
language?
were paid to come? I mean, like, honestly, it's like, seriously, some of this stuff is just totally manufactured. And when you talk to people, and I know like people in your industry will dress it up with a euphemism and they'll say it's health care to cut off the private parts of a 14 or 15-year-old. That is not health care. That is mutilation. And so when we're standing up against that, we're protecting these kids. We had Chloe Cole. We've had other people who.
Daniel Henninger writing in the Wall Street Journal, the argument against elevating the culture wars comes down to two issues: abortion and gender ideology. The party's voter problems with meaning the Republicans, with settling on broadly acceptable abortion limitations are evidence. Gender ideology has considered too hot button, though the rise of so-called parents' rights movements over gender preference notification in Virginia, New Jersey, North Carolina, California looks like a problem for the Democrats. It is a problem. It is a problem if you stand up to them, if you don't coddle them the way that Mike Pence attempted to do, try to middle the issue. I'm here and I'm not changing my position, but I hear your heart and you hear mine. No, I don't.
What you said was perfect.
It's not about your heart. It's about your head, and it's about the best interests of those children. And the best interests of those children is not being mutilated. And you just heard DeSantis about to go on about some of those detransitioners that are now speaking out courageously, like the Chloe Coles and the Prisha Mosleys, and a lot of parents, too. For more on this, so we're pleased to be joined by a parent who's involved in this. She is Tiffany Justice. She's the co-founder of Moms for Liberty and the host of the Joyful Warriors podcast. Tiffany, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been an interesting discussion so far.
Well, please weigh in. You're perfectly suited to do so.
I think one of the things that is often not discussed is that many of the people that are suffering from what they consider to be gender dysphoria or transgenderism have a lot of comorbidities, a lot of other mental distress that oftentimes isn't actually dealt with, and gender transition is offered as this magic pill that will somehow solve all of these other issues. But as we can see, that is obviously not the case. And so if I had been guiding Mike Pence, I think I would have taken a harder line, as you did, but I also would have added in the fact that, we're really not helping people if we're masking all of these other issues by pretending like allowing them to go down some path where what they want will never be realized, meaning a man can never become a woman and a woman can never become a man. That's a truth that they deserve to hear.
Well, that's exactly the point that Chloe Cole made. I mean, she's given many interviews now, but in the interview she did with Jordan Peterson, I mean, it's heartbreaking when she says, like, exactly what you were just describing. Here's where she was. Here's what she says, she thought, and now, and she knows better, but she starts to break down, and she said, how was I supposed to know? And the answer to how she was supposed to know is that somebody was supposed to tell her.
Irreversible harm. I mean, I've sat with Chloe and talked to her mastectomy wounds. They call it top surgery. That's just a easy, prettier word for a double mastectomy. I've had friends who have gone through that process. It's a very difficult, painful surgery. Her wounds are still weeping. And I know that's hard to hear early in the morning, but that's a reality. A lot of these detransitioners, their bone density is like they're 75 years old. These hormones, the puberty blockers, the cross-sex hormones, and then certainly the medical transition make people lifelong medical patients. And the truth is, two things. Children are never born in the wrong body. The idea that we're telling them that is abusive. And the second thing being, children cannot consent to puberty blockers. No child is in a position to be able to make those types of decisions for themselves. And, parents aren't allowed to abuse their children. My daughter was anorexic, and I leaned into the anorexia and said, okay, sweetheart, sure, you seem like you also are overweight to me. Let's get you lap band surgery. I'll starve you. I'll put you on different medications or pills to try to bring your weight down. I would be arrested. So in this situation, what you're seeing is the standard of care is changing across the United States. It's changed in Florida. As you mentioned, Ron DeSantis has been a real leader here. And our moms at Moms for Liberty have been very supportive of him because sane, healthy parents recognize that when your child comes to you in mental distress, that you don't just affirm whatever it is they're saying to you. Sometimes the kindest word that your child can hear from you is no.
Yes, no is a good thing. So I don't know if you know this, but what role did Chloe Cole's parents play in all of this?
Chloe was the youngest of a number of kids, and I think honestly, like many American parents, they weren't told the truth. Chloe felt that she was dealing with gender confusion. They went to the doctor with her, and many doctors across the United States, urged by associations, American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Medical Association, they are all on this bandwagon of gender-affirming care, meaning that you are supposed to affirm whatever gender your child feels like they are. Now, a couple things. We don't talk about gender. We talk about biological sex. And what they want you to do is lie to your child and tell your child that they can become another sex. Totally untrue. Chloe's parents, I'm sure, have regrets, as many American parents that are being led down this path do now or will in the future. Chloe has been incredibly gracious and has said, my parents were told that this was something that was good for me, that would help me, that would keep me from killing myself, right? That's a lie that's told to people. Doctors will say, do you want a dead daughter or a live son? What an awful, cruel thing to say to a parent.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. You and your co-founder of Moms for Liberty, Tina Deskovich, were the subjects of the weekend interview in the Wall Street Journal, which was really interesting. The top line of that interview is, "We do not co-parent with the government," which I like the line a lot, but I want you to develop that a little bit more for us, because I want to make sure the people don't fall into the trap of the caricature of Moms for Liberty and other parents groups. When you say we don't co-parent with the government, it means, we're here to tell teachers and administrators and school board members what to do, and we're going to make this decision, that decision, we're running, because that's how the left characterizes these groups, and that's not reflective of the reality.
No, it's not. I mean, American parents are busy, right? They're working and they send their kids to school, and they shouldn't be worried constantly that the teaching in the classroom is antithetical to the teaching in their home, or that secrets are being kept from them. That children, and it's happening, being put into social transition programs in school. 6 pages of forms that an 11-year-old fills out with a counselor behind closed doors, different name, different pronouns, different bathroom. My goodness, leading a double life. And so, no, there's been a real attempt by the media, as you've said, to try to kind of paint this caricature of parents, concerned parents, helicopter parents. What we're saying is, don't cut us out. We want, and parents should and need to be a major part of every decision that a child is making in school and in life. And, we don't make laws for the minority of people that are going to break that law. And so parental rights are incredibly important. These are fundamental rights. The government doesn't give you the right to raise your child. They certainly can't take it away without due cause. And so, parents are just saying, you don't get to make these types of decisions for our children. There's a boundary between school and home, and we'd like you to respect that, government.
And for people out there listening, and they're always urging people to get involved, pay attention to what's happening in your school board, run for school board, at least vote in the elections. Take a walk around your kid's school, see what's happening. Say, well, I can't do that, and we're outnumbered, and so on and so forth. I mean, this is the Moms for Liberty. The development of this organization has been like a prairie fire. I just want you to describe sort of the genesis of it and how it's taken off into such a thing.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So Tina and I served as school board members. We're both moms. We saw serving on school board during COVID that school districts and a lot of elected officials were abdicating their authority. And so you had a lot of bureaucrats making decisions, and parents were coming forward and trying to express the fact that they saw their children being harmed, and they couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't stop it. And so we started Moms for Liberty so that parents would have a seat at the table, a voice, and it's grown. As you said, it has been like wildfire. We started with 2 chapters in January of 2021. We now have 300 chapters in 47 states with over 130,000 members, active members on the ground, and we endorse only in school board races. And so we try to make sure that people understand the politics the closest to you are very, very important. School board members have a lot of power to make decisions regarding your child's life, the things they're learning, the way the school is operating. And, you're in Chicago Teachers Union, president, right? Sending her child to private school, doesn't even trust public school, right? So, what you're seeing is American parents becoming very concerned about the educational failure we're seeing in our schools. Kids are not learning how to read. They can't do math. They're not writing. They're stuck on the screen all day. And American parents are saying, wait a second. In 2023, we're going to spend $850 billion on public education. That's local, state, federal funding combined. The outcomes are abysmal, and something has to change.
Well, I understand from the Southern Poverty Law Center that your real agenda is to overthrow the government, institute some sort of apartheid system in this country. So, come on, full disclosure. Tell us what your real plans are.
Our real plans are to put power back into the hands of parents when it comes to their children. No more secret meetings. Parents should be able to see the curriculum. There should be transparency in what their children are being taught in school. And that needs to happen before that information is taught. We want parents to have an active role in directing their children's upbringing. You can't direct something if you're constantly reacting to it. The SPLC designation was meant to try to hurt us. They wanted in the first paragraph of every article that's written about us. And, currently that's happening. We're working to hold the SPLC accountable for that.
working to hold them accountable, like litigation potentially?
Yes, sir. We are in the process of a legal analysis right now, and we hope to be able to take action in the future.
Good. Because that is just as all things are with the left, it projects what it is, which is a hate group masquerading as some sort of clearinghouse for extremist elements in this country. It long has been. It's been set by fraud over the years, and Southern Poverty Law Center sort of needs the kind of profile in the public mind that someone like George Soros has gotten since he funded all of these prosecutors, I think. So maybe Moms for Liberty could do that public service as well. Tiffany
We're hoping that. We're hoping that.
Tiffany Justice is the co-founder of Moms for Liberty. Do check out their weekend interview in the Wall Street Journal. We do not co-parent with the government. And also check out Tiffany's podcast, which is The Joyful Warriors. Tiffany, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
You're invited to join Chicago's Aid for Women, celebrating 45 years of empowering women to choose life. Join them Thursday evening, September 28th at the Union League Club in downtown Chicago for their annual benefit dinner. The keynote speaker will be the Babylon Bee's Seth Dillon. The Presidium Vitae Award will be presented to Relevant Radio. Aid for Women provides many important services to women facing unplanned pregnancy who may be considering abortion. At Aid for Women, they believe that the solution to a crisis pregnancy is to remove the crisis, not the child. Aid for Women provides housing, parenting classes, mentoring, and genuine friendship to pregnant women in need, allowing them to choose life and setting them on the path to financial security and independence. To learn more about this event and to support this great organization, go to helpaidforwomen.org. That's helpaidforwomen.org. You can help save lives and souls from abortion today.
Ask any old football player or fan, and they'll tell you offense wins games, but defense wins championships. Sean Thompson here, and you know who else knows that. It's Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group. He knows winning doesn't just happen. It's a result of having a good coach who draws up the right strategy and then makes adjustments along the way. So think of Tom as your retirement defensive coordinator, protecting your retirement savings against inflation, market loss, or a pick six from Uncle Sam. With Tom's complimentary retirement roadmap, you'll find out what's working in your game plan or what's not. If you're serious about winning in retirement, call 630-934-1855. Ask for the retirement roadmap. That's 630-934-1855. Or find Tom online at alphawealthgroup.com and listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour right here on AM 560 The Answer, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, RWA, an SEC registered investment advisor. RWA and Alpha Wealth Group are independent of each other. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Greetings, friends. Sebastian Gorka here. You've probably been hearing my colleagues and I talking about investing with Y-Refi for a while. You may have some questions. So let's review. It's true. You can earn up to 10.25% fixed rate of return. That's not correlated to the stock market or the Fed. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and there are absolutely no fees. There is no attack on principal if you ever need your money back, and you'll get your monthly statement with no surprises. Just go to investyrefi.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then REFY.com, or call 888-YREFI24. Friends, this is a solid investment that actually helps people. Just go to investyrefi.com or call 888-YREFI24 and tell them Dr. G sent you.
AM 560, The Answer.
In the Northwest Suburban Corridor, the GOA Regional Business Association brings business leaders together to impact our community. So meet up at the GOA's Business Expo the afternoon of Thursday, September 21st in Schaumburg at Wintrust Field. It's free to attend and an opportunity to connect with business leaders in your community. Find all the details at thegoa.com. That's thegoa.com.
GOA as in Greater O'Hare Association.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. acronym describer.
Yes. Come
and
on.
true American hero.
Thank you very much. Come on up at 8:38. Time for Open Mic Friday. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line, grab a line. We're taking your calls with comments, compliments, concerns, criticisms, general crack pottery. We'll take it all at 8:38.
And we're going to start with Savasana. And you're getting into Savasana, yoga pose. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
54 degrees at 8:33. The death toll from flooding in Libya now past 11,000. Another 10,000 people are missing after 2 dams collapsed near the port city of Derna this week. The UAW is on strike after failing to reach a new contract with the Big Three. Tony Totti is UAW president at an Ohio Jeep Wrangler plant.
We're prepared to get the deal that we need. Until we get a fair contract, we're not going to go back to work. This is unprecedented. Hopefully this will inspire the companies to get us a fair deal at the table. If not, I'm sure that you'll see more of this at other locations.
Thursday's deadline passed, prompting targeted strikes against Ford, GM, and Chrysler and their parent company, Stellantis. Special counsel Jack Smith is opposing former President Donald Trump's request to remove the judge overseeing his federal election case. Meantime, Hunter Biden is now being indicted on felony gun charges. Court filings show the president's son has been charged with 3 federal criminal counts. Caesars Entertainment says it was recently the target of hackers.
The casino giant now saying hackers breached their firewalls and hijacked critical data that includes social security and driver's license numbers for customers who signed up for their loyalty program.
Caesars was reportedly targeted by the same group that has forced MGM Resorts to shut down ATMs, slot machines, and its mobile app this week. More than 24 people are hurt after a large tent collapsed in a parking lot in Bedford Park yesterday. The cause is unknown. 26 were taken to the hospital, 5 in serious condition. 3 artworks believed to have been stolen during the Holocaust from a Jewish art collector and entertainer have been seized from museums in 3 different states. The artworks by the Austrian expressionist Egon Schiele were seized Wednesday from the Art Institute of Chicago, along with 2 other museums. Twins rout the White Sox 10-2. Cubs have a weekend series with the Diamondbacks as they continue their playoff push, and the Bears prepping for Tampa Bay on Sunday. The news a service of Cabino Environmental. An expert can come and clean up that oil or fuel spill. Cabino's environmental response team will come to the rescue, serving all of Illinois and now southeast Wisconsin and Milwaukee. Get help now at CabinoEnvironmental.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum is confident about Trump.
4 indictment Trump championship, which is pretty much making fun of these fake indictments. Trump is going to win the championship on those. The gut feeling that I have based on the totality of circumstances is that Trump probably didn't do none of this stuff. It's all a witch hunt. They thought it would hurt his chances, and it just made him bigger and powerful. Then he's turned into the Incredible Hulk now.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
The weather is cooling down, but the savings are heating up at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. If you're looking for a new or pre-owned Mazda, you need to visit Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. You'll find the Mazda you want, and the price you see is the price you get. No games, no gimmicks. And right now is a great time to buy a new Mazda with limited time incentives that only come around once a year. You can lease a 2023 Mazda CX-30 for $289 per month, or a 2023 Mazda CX-5 for $315 a month, or for $539 a month, lease the all-new 2024 Mazda CX-90. All lease terms 33 months with $39.95 down plus tax, title, license, and $324.24 doc fee with approved credit through Mazda Capital Services for qualified buyers. And to keep your Mazda running great all year round, schedule your next service appointment right online at WilkinsMazdaCars.com. Wilkins Mazda, conveniently located in Elmhurst off of York Road and 290, just minutes from Oak Brook downtown in Schaumburg. Experience the next level of excellence at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Visit WilkinsMazdaCars.com. See dealer for details.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for Townhall.com. Blue state politicians are finally feeling the pain of illegal immigration. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been one of the loudest complainers, claiming his city will have to cut up to 15% of its budget to pay for the influx of migrants. The Biden administration has taken notice. It's now floating a Remain in Texas policy. This would mean illegal immigrants would have to wait in Texas until their asylum screening. Of course, you'd have to ask, if the Biden administration can effectively wall in the migrants just above Texas, why couldn't it do so just below and have them remain in Mexico? But then you might start to suspect this common sense plan would deprive Democrats of new clients for an expanded welfare state, or stymie their new scheme for turning Texas blue. But you'd hate to be that cynical.
The Pepperdine Graduate School of Public Policy, for those considering careers in politics and policy.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I feel better, I look better, I have more energy, everything. And I'm 60 years old.
Oh my gosh, you need to share every bit of the success. I'm in love with them, and I'm going to keep on taking them until the end of time, because my body clearly is doing something with Balance of Nature. I mean, my skin looks good, and I've got energy, and I walk, talk fast, and you can see that I'm up with these fruit and vegetables.
Happy National Fruits and Veggies Month. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer today to receive $35 off your first order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Brew some at home today. A family tradition since 1897. Online at papanicholas.com.
8:39. Quick check on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Here's a hint. Fall fines for $25. Under, like sharp blazers, cozy sweaters, jackets, and more. The latest trends and our new arrivals at a Macy's Backstage store near you. Kennedy in down to 50 minutes now. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike at 54 minutes, 390 to the old post office. And the Dan Ryan a half hour into the Burns Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Abundant sunshine in your forecast. A pleasant afternoon, high 78. Clear and 58 overnight. 60 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call it now! Open mic Friday!
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Yes, Open Mic Friday. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Taking your comments, concerns, criticisms, questions, general correct pottery. We'll take it all. Amy, would you like to begin?
Salty today, man.
You're salty.
I'm so salty. My team lost in 3 sets, and we needed to win that game to win conference to move up to the Gold Conference. And I'm salty. Didn't get her done.
Yeah, well.
And we've been working since July. What month is this? It's all right.
September.
Yeah, it's okay. Can you pay for some counseling?
Sometimes you have to take a step back to take 2 steps forward. And other such aphorisms.
We're going to learn from this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You learn more from losing than winning, and other such aphorisms.
Winners
never quit, and quitters never win, and other such aphorisms. Is that enough?
Yes.
Can I stop
okay.
now?
Yes, you can stop now. Okay, this is a story I've been trying to get to all week because something you should do besides take Balance of Nature, you should also do yoga. They actually have classes for golfers. And you bring like a 5-iron or a 4-iron or whatever you want to use, your even if you want to use your driver to stretch out and do yoga moves. There's a whole hour class.
Mm-hmm.
But this there was a class. So sometimes they have special classes at stores to do yoga class and then shop at our store. So they did it.
I wonder if they'll have that at the city-owned grocery stores.
So they had a a yoga class.
By
at
the
a
way,
restaurant.
I got one I got to add on that. Hold on a second. I'll let you finish. Big Johnson's.
There you go.
The
you know what? That's the winner.
city-owned grocery store names that we're trying to get together a list in case you didn't hear earlier, so we can send it to City Hall for their perusal. Brandon Johnson's going to roll out a chain of city-owned grocery stores, which is a great idea, obviously. Big Johnson's.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
And Lori
love it.
Lightfoot could be a greeter.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
All right. Anyway,
Welcome.
continue with your
Okay,
yoga.
so Seascape Cafe decided to have a yoga night, so they're, move the tables over, and at the end you do Savasana, which
Where's Seascape Cafe?
Oh, it's in Lincolnshire, England.
Oh.
So
Merry old England.
they moved all the tables over, and then Savasana, as opposed you do at the end where you relax, you're on your back. Well, these two people who were walking their dogs walked by the cafe, and they thought it was a mass murder. So they called police and said
people
there's
bleeding?
bodies on the floor. No, they said they called the officers and said they thought it was a ritual mass murder. They said there's bodies all over the floor. There's a man walking around holding a candle, walking around the bodies on the floor, and they thought it was some ritualistic
Like a
mass
Jonestown
murder, like a
kinda thing.
Jonestown thing.
Yeah.
So the cops come with turn on the siren, like, we got a mass murder. All units are on the scene, and it was just a yoga class. And the guy had lit tea candles, because that's what you do, when you're bringing it down, bringing your, your breathing down, getting relaxed, meditating. And he was just walking around in between the students lying on the floor in Savasana, not victims. So they, when they say when you see something, say something, just, be careful. It's not a mass murder. It's just a yoga class.
Right. The see something, say something. When they say it, stop listening to they. If you see something, employ your common sense and then decide if it merits saying something. I can't believe this needs to be explained, but yes, apparently. All right, take some calls. Stan and Aurora, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. So when Megyn Kelly had her interview and asking about Fauci to Trump, I would ask Mr. Drain the Swamp this question. You campaigned on draining the swamp, yet you left the guy that was one of the longest-serving employees in government and also the highest paid, and he was over 70, and was on an age waiver. Why didn't you rescind the age waiver on day one? Wouldn't that be an obvious move? Thanks.
Thanks for the call. Again, day one, what you know about Tony Fauci and his relevance, maybe day 30 of the actual pandemic when you've seen what he's done and you get a little feel. I mean, Trump talks about how he wanted me to, not shut down travel from China, and I did it over his objection. Explaining where he disagreed with Fauci, and of course you can disagree with advisors and keep them around. But it seemed to me, like I said when we were talking about it earlier in the program, that pretty early on, Fauci and Birx started getting outside of their alleged core competency and becoming very political. And Trump's senses should have led him to at least expand the circle of advisors to bring in people that they're equally credentialed, equal in terms of expertise, but were saying very different things in public as we were having a national discussion about this best as we could. Ralph and Wilmette.
Hey, how you doing? Sorry about your loss, Amy.
Thanks.
I'm here in the mean streets of Wilmette, what you call the frontier, a couple blocks from Evanston.
Be careful.
We were talking about what they were doing with the stadium down there, which is not far away. And I don't know if you understand Evanston.
I understand it perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah, I live there. I went to school there. Yeah.
Well, then you understand.
And so I know how a Go-Go's concert at Ryan Field could negatively impact the lives of Wilmetians. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Then you understand how the further north you get in Evanston, the more of two minds they are. The one mind is the thoroughly woke and very wealthy, where everything is perfectly, the society is just fine. And the other side is they can't stand how the people from the city come up north and just hang out and do whatever they want. And we have it up here, too, where people come up north on the train and shop for anything that's not nailed down. And we can look out for ourselves here, but in Evanston, if you're woke, you have to agree that everybody's just fine. You can come here, you're not doing any harm until things disappear. And they're just as grim as they can be about it. And you can just feel the crackle as you go through Evanston about hearing how that's going. Yes, and the Go-Go's concert wouldn't do us any good here at all.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Ralph. Well, again, this border skirmish between Wilmette and Evanston, I just pray that it ends peacefully.
And don't wake the babies.
Matt in Oak Lawn.
Hey, good morning, guys. So a buddy of mine was at the Bear game Sunday, and he sat near our mayor, Brandon Johnson, or not your mayor, but your mayor, some of you, and he did not stand for the national anthem.
What?
Did he kneel?
Right? No, but think of this guy. Here's a guy that makes $220,000 a year, and he doesn't have a lot of talent.
Yeah, I know.
He should appreciate this country. Take a guy like Jose Sanders, makes a lot of money, but he's a major, major talent. But this guy has nothing.
Thanks for
Are
the
you sure about
comment.
that?
He
If
didn't-
that happens again, somebody should take a picture of him sitting down during the national anthem.
Maybe he was sitting next to John Cusack, and they both decided that they couldn't stand.
That's horrible. I hope that's not true.
Dawn in Naperville.
Hi, good morning. I wanted to let everybody know COPA, Council of Parents, Advocates, and Attorneys, featured a story from WBEZ that featured CPS student Kamira Mitchell. She made national news this spring. She's a student with autism, and it says that she beat the odds graduating from Chicago Public Schools. And they featured her mom, and it said that her mom spent the past 14 years trying to fight to get the bare minimum for her daughter. And what she's actually quoted as saying in the article is, I feel vindicated because of all the time and all the horror that I had to go through in CPS, battling back and forth. And so the reason why I'm calling is I think to provide some contextual reality of why Stacey Davis Gates does not send her son to CPS, which she has every right to do. The problem is in your position as a leader, it's really difficult when you speak and you want success for benefit of all on one side of your mouth, but what you practice, what you preach is different. So here's what I would propose. I would propose maybe Ron from the South Side take your place, or the mom, Kavita Mitchell, who had to fight the past 14 years, take your place, so that there's not a defending of the failure that you actually produced. That's all I have to say.
Thanks for the call, Dawn. Yeah, right. It's the whole. This goes on forever. It's the we're not going to do anything to change the system until we can change it for everyone, rather than treating it as an emergency response situation where you have to save as many people as you can as fast as you can. But there always is a lifeboat for them, and they're the first ones on it. Matt, Southside. Southside.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Good morning, Andy. Real quick, I know we were talking earlier about Donald Trump, how he kept Fauci and Deborah Birx in prominent positions for so long. Now, the one thing I got to say is that as far as like DeSantis goes, my concern is, we could all agree that Trump kept them, front and center too long. But we talk all the time on this show, at least you guys do, about how Ron DeSantis can't even get a campaign manager to help focus his campaign and put out a clear message. So my whole thing is, on a national level, Trump was president. He was the executive in charge of the country. I get it. But if DeSantis can't even take control of his own campaign message, that's what bothers me. If you're going to run a legit campaign, I think you should be man enough not even have to wait anymore for what your campaign managers tell you your message should be. I think he's got a good message. He's got to have the, cojones to get out there and just say what he wants to do instead of being slave to the campaign manager.
Thanks for the call, Matt. Well, right. What did I see? A CNBC poll that has Trump up 50 points now, 62-12. DeSantis, I'm a fan of DeSantis, as I've said many, many times. We profiled him many, many times in terms of what he was doing in Florida during the pandemic in particular, prior to his candidacy for president. But his campaign has been underwhelming. He's been an underwhelming messenger. He's been an underwhelming candidate. It's been an underwhelming campaign. And he had a lot of runway leading up to his announcement this spring. And it just hasn't happened. For whatever reason, the finger pointing internally in his operation, which I know is happening, however that shakes itself out, the end result is the end result at this stage. Ron, Southside. Southside.
Dan and Amy, good morning. Regarding the municipal
grocery store, if they arrest the criminals and the thugs that make it unprofitable to operate a business, you'd have a private sector come into the neighborhoods, and instead you wouldn't have to have an incompetent, useless government entity that can't run a hot dog stand. Have a good day and a good weekend.
You too, Ron. Thanks for the call. Now, again, the upside is think how many more idiot nephews and nieces of older humans will be employed because of the grocery stores. That's more full-time
that's right.
jobs.
It's another government grab.
Mary at Midway is smarter than me, she alleges.
Well, I don't want to live in a world where I'm smarter than
Well,
Dan
good thing is you don't.
I know.
Good thing
so
you
I
guys are
hope
both
I'm wrong here.
humble.
Plus, I don't like the actual answer to this question.
All right.
A few weeks ago, you were talking about the homeless and how they're moving into airports and so on, and you referenced the airport in Las Vegas, which you referred to as.
I don't McCarran. I don't remember referencing an issue in Las Vegas.
Say McCarran.
Okay.
It hasn't been called that in years.
I call Comiskey Park too. I get to call whatever I want.
So do you know what they use the name as for real now?
Las Vegas International.
Oh, this is so depressing. I only wish I was wrong.
I don't know.
It's called Harry Reid
Oh
Airport.
gosh!
I just said that, so I'm smarter than both of you.
Well, I haven't been to Vegas. I used to go to Vegas a long time when it was called McCarran. A lot of times when it was. But
Isn't he the guy who got us all in trouble? Said Mitt Romney. He lied about the taxes and said, "Well, it worked, didn't it?"
yeah, he's the guy who got beat up by his exercise bike.
Well, I wish I had been wrong I wish I had been wrong because I would rather be McCarran.
Well,
again.
I'm never calling it. I will continue to call it
you both.
McCarran. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for the call, Mary. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not recognizing that name. Just like I call the Washington Nationals the Reagans. They've never been called the Reagans, but I call them the Reagans. If the left gets to redefine the entire English language, I get to do a couple of things that actually have some nexus to reality, like Comiskey Park or McCarran Airport. Why was I referencing Las Vegas Airport? Oh, nobody's listening to me, including me. Ralph and Rantoul.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. I was too late to join the other segment, but I'd like to offer for consideration my name for the stores. It's kind of onomatopoeia. You're going to hear a lot inside. I think they should just call the stores Gimme Dat.
Gimme Dat.
Gimme Dat.
It's not bad. I like it. It's very urban and urbane. Witty. Very good. Thanks for the call, Ralph. Gimme Dat. I'm going to Gimme Dat to pick up some eggs. And that works. I feel like that works. Yeah. Verlon, Southside. No, Verlon, Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, I really like that. Give me that. I think that'll catch on.
I like that too.
But yeah, Dan. But I want to ask you because I know you're at least 5 years invested. Have you watched the new season of Billions yet?
No, I fell off. I fell off a season ago. It got silly as these series usually do by the fourth or fifth season, and I fell off, so I haven't watched it.
Well, it got worse. The first episode of the new season, they showed their true colors. They ran off a list of Democrats that they said is their greatest heroes. Oh, my God. I almost stopped watching it, but I have to finish.
You don't have to finish. You can stop. Stop. You are in control, Verlon. The streaming services do not control you. Stop yourself. It's just bad. It's just
Check
bad.
yourself before you wreck yourself.
It's bad.
The
Eduardo, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, good morning. So what happened in Libya and Morocco and even Turkey early in the year, that's just going to bring more people here to the U.S. because they're just going to lose faith that they're going to be having their homes rebuilt over there, or their lives, for that matter.
Thanks for the call, Eduardo. Chuck and Delavan.
Hey, party on this weekend. Hey, nice aphorisms. That was a great band. I was not in it, though. Hey, where to be with me is this weekend, if you guys, since I am the social director up here in north of the Cheddar Curtain, the Abbey tonight with the D-Light Duo. Tomorrow night, the Phoenix Band Shell, downtown Delavan. They're going to have Lady Gaga and Queen and a laser light show to finish up the year. At the
You mean, are these like men dressed as Lady Gaga and a woman dressed as Freddie Mercury, or what is that?
No.
What do you mean, Lady Gaga and Queen?
No, they don't do that. We can't try that in a small town. But Big Smorgasbord Sunday is going to be the next door pub, Lakeside, next door pub in Lake Geneva. They're having their 50th anniversary. They're going to have a bunch of bands there, block off their whole parking lot, and they're going to have an axe throwing contest and drinking contest.
You know what's
So it's gonna be
interesting?
great.
You know what's interesting, Chuck? Smorgasbord was the name of my college garage band. It was an ABBA cover band, and we killed with Dancing Queen. How ironic is that?
Have a great weekend.
You too, Chuck.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful at lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question, and the owners of Relief Factor tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. That's right, designed to heal, and I agree with them. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, yes, 100% drug-free ingredients, each helping your body deal with inflammation. Each of the 4 ingredients deals with inflammation from a different metabolic pathway. That's right there, approaching from 4 different angles, maybe why so many people find such wonderful relief. So if you have back pain, shoulder, neck, hip, knee, or foot pain from exercise or just getting older, you should order the 3-week quick start, discounted to only $19.95, to see if it will work for you. It has for about 70% of the 500,000 people who've tried it, and they've ordered more. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF, the number 4RELIEF, to find out about this offer. Feel the difference.
AM 560. The Answer.
Where did the time go?
I got to tell you, the more I'm saying gimme that, the
Just
more I
gimme
like
dat.
it as the name of the grocery store, the city-owned grocery store. Very good. Yeah.
Like Johnsonville. All right. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you for loving this country and this state. We appreciate you. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Have a wonderful weekend. Here is Mike Scott.
Illegal migrants moving into a Greektown hostel. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
They've moved from the